Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. And I know it's been a crazy 24 hours of uh, information coming out with the Kylie being found. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Tonight, however, we're going to sit back. We're going to take a look at what the press conferences and what AWP or Adventures with Purpose had said today, and take a look at some of the things that they put out, because Adventures with Purpose did give creators permission to use Hello, everybody, can you hear me? Okay, so I may be having an issue. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And for everybody, let me know that you can hear me. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I was backstage and talking away and didn't even know it. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me there for a moment. Don't know what happened. Uh, wonderful StreamYard. But anyway, what I was saying is we're going to take a look at what tonight. We're going to take a look at what Adventures with Purpose had put out earlier today. We're going to break that down a little bit. We're also going to take a look at what the Placer Sheriff County or Placer County Sheriff's Department had also put out today, and break that down a little bit. We're also going to be doing a little bit of playing around with the map, taking a look at it where this was, because we have a little bit of a correction to make from last night's live. It appears that we were actually where the area we were talking about was off. So we're going to get into that as well. First of all, I want to say to the Placer Sheriff's Department, even though that their search may not have been flawless, and also to the Adventures with Purpose dive team that was out there, a big thank you, as they do deserve to be thanked for their service that they had done finding Kylie and not quitting and not giving up until she was found. And yes, they do believe she was in the vehicle. Sylvia Tyndall, thank you very much for joining us. I greatly appreciate that. So tonight, like I said, we're going to start with taking a look at video footage from Adventures with Purpose. I just realized something that I have to real quickly. It was the footage they put out today, so forgive me one moment here. There's some specific footage I want to show, and it's going to maybe help explain a little bit of why. In fact, we're just going to watch this whole video, but I'm going to pause it along the way. I'm a big time fan of Adventures with Purpose. I followed their channel, and very often when it comes to water rescues and water searches, I share or I've been watching them long enough that I understand what they're looking at on their equipment and things like that, and the amount of time that they've had to work with their equipment shows that it has given them the level of expertise that they have. And familiarity has allowed them to become more more and more precise with their equipment, where they can actually sit there and go through. Hello, John Q. How are you tonight? Double rainbows. I did see you come in as well, and I apologize. They did. They do have the expertise of their equipment, and where they actually forgive me, I'm stuttering and forgetting what I was trying to say there. Where they do have more experience than most dive teams that are considered search and rescue teams associated with fire departments and police departments. So I'll be coming back to this video in just a moment. Before we do get that, I'm going to do this real quick, because this is important. Even though they did say on their video that that they give permission for anybody, creator, news, any sort of media, to use this information on the video that we're going to take a look at. But before we do, or as we do, forgive me as I say this, but it's a little bit of a CYA. We're going to take a look at this. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. We're definitely going to be in fair use because we are taking a look at this to not only understand some of what Adventures with Purpose does, as a current events news story, and we're also going to use this as a little bit of research tonight. So bear with me just one moment here. Like I said, I'm going to be stopping this a couple times along the way. But here we go. That is the second time it's done that tonight. Something does not want me talking about this tonight. It knocked me clear out of the studio this time. I apologize to everybody and I appreciate your patience with me.
This is going to serve as a press release debrief of our efforts searching for and finding Kiely Rodni. Anything within this video may be used by any news agency or outlet within their own news reporting. This is only an announcement and briefing. Fully edited episodes will be released soon, so please be patient. We have found Kiely Rodni's vehicle and have confirmed that there were remains inside.
An official investigation, an official identification of the remains will be made and announced by authorities once their investigations are complete. Please understand and respect this is a highly active investigation by the FBI and multiple local sheriff's departments, and we are limited to the scope of details we can release.
We began our search for Kiely at Prosser Creek Reservoir on August 21st at 10:40 a.m. We placed 2 sonar boats in the water. By 11:15 a.m., Nick detected an object underwater using cutting-edge Garmin sonar technology. I was able to then confirm that it was, in fact, a vehicle in roughly 14 feet of water and only 55 feet offshore. After marking the vehicle with our magnet, Nick suited up in his dive gear.
I just wanted to pause real quick here and say, could you tell that was a car? Could anybody tell that this right here, dead center of this image, is the vehicle? That what you see coming down the top of the middle of the screen is their magnet. That's what you see right there, is their magnet coming down to the vehicle. No criticism is due to the police. If they're not familiar and they don't if they're not presented with enough chances to use their equipment to know that this is what you're looking for, that this is a vehicle. I don't feel that the Prosser County Sheriff's Department, the police, anybody, the searchers deserve any criticism whatsoever. Because I've seen Adventures with Purpose be looking at an image on a sonar and it be worse than this and be able to pick out whether it's a tree that fell in the water or if it's the actual vehicle. They found a helicopter underwater one time. Hello, Nosy Bug. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. They found a helicopter underwater once. So like I said, I don't have any criticism of the police department on this. Their efforts were 6 and 1/2 dozens the other, but I'm not going to criticize them on it. When you see this image from a sonar,
Gear and conducted the dive to formally identify and assess the vehicle, with me running OTS comms topside. Once we confirmed it was indeed Kiely's vehicle, we immediately notified family, law enforcement, and Dad and Grandpa were on scene within minutes. Please refer to our episodes for complete search investigation that we conducted. These episodes will be released very soon. Again, this takes time to edit. We will need to put these together in an appropriate way in order to respect law enforcement as well as the family. That those should be out. I would estimate probably within the next week or so. The Placer County Sheriff's Department, Nevada County Sheriff's Department, the entire Placer County Sheriff's Dive Team has been incredible to work with. We understand that the resource we provide with our unique skill set is rare, and it is an honor to help agencies and families all across the nation. We will be working together with authorities here to share this knowledge over the next couple of days. It is always our mission to promote and share the techniques we utilize so that our purpose can help as many people as possible.
We'd like to thank all of our supporters. We can't thank all of you enough for your donations and putting us in this position as we continue to grow and help more families. Simply watching our episodes, liking, sharing, subscribing, and following our social media in your thoughts and prayers as we are.
I apologize. I muted myself and I was talking to myself there. Hello, Smiley. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. I paused there for a moment because I wanted to take a look at another angle of this sonar that they actually take they see, and we're going to just take it. Going to pause it a couple times in here. Hello, Lady Blind Wolf. How are you? Thank you for joining me. And John Q, if you're still in the audience, I do want you to come up in just a moment here, but I wanted to take a look at this video a little bit more.
Compress and prepare for our next case, which is 22-year-old Jalissa Fuentes in Selma, California.
This image that you can see right here is the upper part of it and the lower part of it are two different images that are on one screen. One is looking straight down from the surface of the water. The other one is looking at a right angle, parallel to the taking a look at the ground, the different surface, the different areas where the ground changes. There's the vehicle right there. That's again another. This is another angle of what they see when they're searching with equipment. But that's the vehicle. And of course, you did see the diver went down. You saw the license plate, which you're going to see here in just a moment as well.
Please keep the Rodni family in your thoughts and prayers as we are. Hug your loved ones a little tighter and take the time to take time, as we never know when it will be our last opportunity to do so. I hope, as tragic as this outcome turned out to be, that this will carry on so that we are able to help the next family like we did here. Thank you.
And that's how they identified that it was Kiely's vehicle, was from the license plate. And this is the vehicle underwater. Now, Pepper Spice, thank you very much for coming in. I see you as well. Just want to take a moment and make sure everybody notices everybody's here, and thank everybody for coming out. Now, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable what they could pick up on those grainy images that we were first looking at to tell that this was Kiely's vehicle. and absolutely prayers and nothing but love and respect to the family. This is the only image that I'm going to be sharing tonight of the vehicle itself. These are the only images I'm going to be sharing. Unless I just decide later on to show the vehicle tarped up like they did. But from those grainy images that we were just looking at, they figured out this was Kiely's vehicle. Again, I said a few moments ago, I said that there's no disrespect to the searchers. We're going to take a look at it, the police footage from their press conference today in just a few moments. There's a couple things that I think they said that are extremely important to this. Extremely important. I still believe and remain believing as of now until proven otherwise. And of course, of all, as always, all persons, regardless of them being a suspect or not, are innocent until proven guilty. No matter if they're charged with anything, no matter if they are arrested, questioned. Let's remember, these are all teenagers. Even if somebody is 18 years old, they're still a teenager. Absolutely, Nosy Bug. You're absolutely right. They had certain things on that car they could verify. There was the sticker above the windshield wiper. There was the license plate that they could verify that this was definitely her vehicle before they even approached getting it out of the water. Next thing I want to take a look at, and I'm kind of moving around a little bit here, is I think that when we looked at what Placer County Sheriff's Department did or has done, and I hate to do this, but shame on you, Hawkins County, Tennessee, for not doing something as simple as this, making it public that you have put man hours and you continue to put man hours into the search for Summer Wells. As of today, 9 a.m. Excuse me, it says 8:20, 9 a.m. It was for 8:19. It was 8:20 a.m., 9 a.m. that they had posted this. Placer County Sheriff's Department. 60 personnel assigned. Almost 20,000 hours cumulative. And the total of assisting the agency is California Highway Patrol, Federal, the FBI, Truckee Police Department, Placer County Probation Department, Placer County Fire. 1,772 tips. This probably took somebody off 2 minutes to make up. Keeps the story out there. in people's minds that have Twitter. And people were using this every day to see updates. Why couldn't Hawkins County do something like this for summer wells? I'm not trying to compare, and I don't want to, but if one sheriff's department can make this much of an effort to sit there and make something like this, 2 minutes. It probably was longer than the very first time, but the 2 minutes to make updates. Two minutes to make updates. John Q, do you want to jump up here and join me? I sent you a link in your email. And Bossman Blake, if you're in the audience and you can make it, if you're lurking or whatnot, you're welcome to join me as well. Hello, Mr. John Q. How are you?
I'm good. RJ. Hello, chat.
How was your day? It's good today, sir.
It was a busy one, for sure.
For sure. A lot of information coming out today.
Yeah, tons of it. And it's good. It's good because the story is obviously changing, as we spoke about last night on Table Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to see that, you're right behind on your channel tonight, covering the case. And much love to everyone in the chat.
Yeah, I had actually posted this while you were still live last night about I was going to be doing the follow-up on AWP and the sheriff's press conference tonight on my channel. And I want to take a moment and say hello, Cherokee Girl. Thank you for joining us. I love baking, so please send me a good cookie recipe sometime. I love to bake. It's one of my guilty pleasures, I guess. But so the reason I wanted you and Bossman too, if he does decide to join us, is we got a little bit of an error correction we need to take care of.
Well, that's good.
Did you see that?
No, that's good. I mean, we can only perceive as much of this case as we can. We're not going to entirely cover all of the aspects of it because, we're not law enforcement or trained to be law enforcement or investigators or anything else like that. We're coming from a public's point of view, and we can only grab what's important, what we perceive to be important to us, and hold those things to be as relevant to the case as well as, most likely everything else. But, I'm glad there are corrections,
Oh, absolutely. And this is the beauty of it. The information was vague last night when we were talking about this, about where they were searching.
Right.
And so it's not that we made a huge mistake in saying that a location was definitively here where we believe they were searching.
Right.
It's just we need to just take a different look at this because the information has changed in the past 24 hours.
And we should. And if there is a correctional location, that's great because, once again, we were looking at it from a perception of where we believed at that time that car was located. If it was in a different location or opposite of where we were, or not even close, One thing is for sure, and it stands to be a fact: the car was found in the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So the location we believed that they were looking at, and from the photographs and everything, like I say, it's very, very easy to get, twisted around. I'm the first person that can say that. I've done it with Summer Wells property, where it's the property on Ben Hill Road, where you start letting you zoom in with Google Earth, and it starts spinning around. You get twisted around. You don't have your orientation right.
Right.
Mistakes can happen. And I'm sure Carrie's laughing at me right now in the chat when I said that. Or even if she isn't, she would be soon.
Well, we're taking a look at it from the perspective of Google Earth, Google Maps, uh, from a bird's eye point of view in reference to covering terrain, length of terrain, the distances, and things of that nature. Whereas folks that are boots on the ground, see this entire thing from an entirely different perspective, uh, based on location, and all sorts of other things that change the dynamic of how they see what they see from their perception. So we're going off of the information that's, you know, info, the information that's being given to us online, and we're trying to be as close and as accurate as possible. But if there is a different point in the location where the car was found, then great. I mean, we have a better perspective tonight, as well as now knowing that the vehicle was found and there was a body that still needs to be accurately confirmed as Kiely in the car. And then there are other dynamics that need to take place as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So last night in the live that you had, and when I had originally looked at it, I did the same thing. My focus was over here, over in this area,
Yeah,
off the boat ramp,
it gave us that appearance. Yeah.
off the boat ramp on this side of everything was going on.
Correct.
My thought was, okay, if the reports are true, when I very first looked at this, if the reports are true, you're in this parking lot area, you're drunk, you're not familiar with it, you're disoriented for which direction you go, and you make a right and right off the boat ramp. However, that doesn't appear to be necessarily what they were searching. You still have the same kind of idea where it's a area of land that sticks out a bit.
Yeah, like a huge hump.
Like this over here where you
Right.
were looking at last night.
Yeah.
But it's over here. It's in this area where they were talking about saying that the water back on the 6th would have been approximately 20 to 25 foot deep, 3 to 4 foot higher along the coming up the bank here.
Okay. Can you zoom in on that?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
You still have this road coming down.
Right.
Looks like somebody had
there.
And you have a bit of a cliff and quick downhill right into the water.
Right. Because there is elevation there.
Yes. Of course, you cannot use the little detail of the getting down on Street View with it here.
Right.
Because
Unfortunately.
Google Maps, and just so everybody understands why, Google Maps has determined these roads to be private, unmanaged roads, and they don't allow you to be on with the Street View.
Right.
But you can tell just by the general terrain of I'm zooming in here. You have this little bit of a I don't know what this is coming off of the main route. If you're not, again, if you're not familiar with the area, you're thinking this is a road.
Yeah, that keeps going. And
Mhm.
we also have to remember too that, this area at night is pitch black.
Mhm.
There are no lights, lamps, or any kind of illumination in this area near the water, near or around the water when you get in and around these watery areas near the shore. So it is pitch black. So
Mhm.
one being inebriated, thinking that they were on a road that was taking them to one of the main conduits, other roads that would lead back to Route 81, if that's where she was going, would think that this road will take me back to where I came from. Yeah, in her mind,
Right.
depending on how inebriated she was, visibility at night, if she used her high beams to try to illuminate the road so that she can get a better fix on where the road was going, you know. But
Hello, boss man.
we're
Hello, boss
definitely
man.
oh, boss man is in the building. All right.
Yes, sir. Boss man Blake, I sent you an email a little bit ago at 8 o'clock, approximately 8 o'clock. If you want to, that helps you find it any. If you want to join us, please do not be afraid to grab that link that I sent you. It will, it's for StreamYard. But it's very, very easy. Just on the idea, you can't. Again, you're another person. I'm going to throw out there and say, do not fault these two. The information was limited, and what
Yeah.
made sense then actually still makes a lot of sense. That this could have been, because if you're looking at that, what I was just showing you with that other area, you still have this. If the water was higher back on the 6th,
Hmm.
this definitely looks like it was would have been covered by water in this area. This looks like it could have been a bit of an upslope right in here, and it could have launched a vehicle. How that is, this is on the summation that it was an accident. Okay,
Right.
we still have to go through the whole criminal process because this is an open investigation, and even if it is deemed to be an accidental drowning, accident, they were still treating this as a criminal investigation at this time.
Now, if you can go back to, I think you're in 3D, go back to 2D.
I'm in 2D, or maybe I'm
Oh,
in.
yeah. Go back to bird's eye, pull up a little bit, and go from the sanctuary all the way to where they found the vehicle. Could you measure it? I see the ruler over there, the last tool on the left-hand
Left
side.
side.
Yeah, and then go from the sanctuary, start there first, and then go to the water. Well, let's kind
Well,
of
let's
get
go
an
from
idea.
this parking lot here.
Okay.
Let's go from this parking lot because, like I said to you last night, I believe that this is. Let me actually go ahead and start that again.
Hmm.
Because I said to you last night, I believe that this is a parking lot they were actually using. I'm just going to make some clicks along here and this is going to be an approximate because this road curves around and around.
Oh, and if you can change the dynamics up there where it says distance, and you can get over to the upper right-hand corner. You see where it says 606.46 M.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you
I'll
can
take a
change
look at
that.
it.
Yeah, you can change that to feet. You can change it to yards. You can change it to miles, just to get an idea. But mhm.
Oh, let's see here. Let's go with miles first. Let's see
Miles.
what this shows.
Here we are, 1.29 miles
Yep.
from that parking area, according to the road route that you took.
Yes. Which I think that is the road route for around this area, and that's approximate. It's by the time I can't follow it perfectly, okay, but it curves around through the wooded area, comes up along to what looks like a main road that comes down towards this area that they were saying is where the vehicle was. So it's approximately 1.29, 1.3 miles. That's not a horrible distance off. And probably slightly overestimating with how far 55 feet out is, but still,
And
it
when you
gives you
take
an idea.
when you take a look at this route, now that you have it mapped out, and this is just an idea, we're taking a look at possibly Kiely coming from the parking area, riding her vehicle through that area, through the rugged terrain, the trees, out of that sanctuary area, to hit the route and make a left turn rather than a right turn.
It
And
is
then
suspicious.
yeah,
It
and
is
then
suspicious.
yeah, thank you, because when we're remembering that she's inebriated, and so a lot of things are going to be off. Her calibration is going to be off, her thinking process is going to be off, depending on what she drank, how much of it she drank, and whether what she drank was spiked to
Right.
accelerate her condition to be the way it was at that time. But to look at this 1.29 miles, you get a funny feeling that she wouldn't have done this. She wouldn't have been able to navigate her car like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I only say that based upon her being 16, 100 and 15, 20 pounds, give or take. She's
I
a small, petite,
Right. I believe the flyer said 118, but
118 pounds. Okay. So
still
she's
we're
small and petite. She's, a little, small. So depending on how much she ingested and what she ingested, and then taking a look at her leaving this area, okay, everybody's gone, whatever. I got to try to get home because all my friends left me. It makes you feel some kind of way about this route. It makes you feel as though you wouldn't believe that she could actually drive this route if
no, yeah,
she was that turned up.
absolutely. And that's something when I had realized where they were actually searching, and I was like, there's just no way. There is no way. In my mind, I just it was not possible for this. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's foul play. I'm going to sit there and this is what this is my thing tonight. You know, let the process happen.
Yeah, because it's hard to say if her car was damaged by any of the trees or the brush. We don't have the ability or capability ourselves to be there to examine if her car had any external damage to it: headlights, front end,
Mhm.
side doors, windows, you name it.
Right, and if she did go off that tip where it does look like it's a bit of like a cliff or a
Mhm.
slightly higher mounded up area, it could have launched the car vehicle some, which would then have potentially caused on impact. Oh, I don't know. Let's say a cracked windshield.
Right, and that's still
And
yet to be determined based on how much damage did the car take on, if there was any damage. There's already some information flying out there about her possibly hitting her head up against the windshield. Hence, the windshield is cracked. The driver's side door window has been busted out. And these, I guess, um, folks who are out there on YouTube as content creators are just taking a look at the police photos removing that car. Now, if her windows were closed and they needed to get inside the car in order to strap the cables in and around certain areas of that car to get access to turning the car over underwater, getting it back on fours, and then pulling it out, the rear end out first because of the direction the car was pointing in. So there's a lot there to say that, some of what we may see, like the driver's side rear view mirror on the door was broken, and that could have happened on the rollover.
Right. Well,
Uh,
this is what I'm saying. If there was either a window open,
mhm.
or if there was a crack or a piece of the windshield missing, even if it was spidered and cracked, there is the potential that it would have been allowed air to seep out of the car faster than normal. As we had talked about, and I
Yeah.
mentioned last night, a vehicle can actually float from anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what kind of vehicle it is. And there's the other factors that I'm not getting into. It's too technical for my understanding. If you want to take a look at, if you want to understand that, take a look at Adventures with Purpose. Any of their videos of the rescues, they do explain that frequently about how a car can float for a limited amount of time. So we have the idea that if there was a window open, or the windshield was cracked, or there was a chunk of the windshield missing, we have a way of water escaping or water entering and air escaping at a much faster rate than a normal vehicle would. And that could cause a rollover, or it could cause the car to roll over and flip. And if it did come down on its side and then flip even further as more air escaped, that would explain the driver's side damage as well
Right.
that we saw
Well, if you notice too, in any of the movies that we see a car go off into a ravine, off of a cliff and into water. If your mind can remember the last time you actually saw a car at hitting the water, you'll notice or you'll remember that the car is heaviest in the front where the engine is. We've got a solid engine block.
Yeah.
You have all these hoses and wires and pockets. And once those are engulfed in water to full capacity, you'll notice that the front just goes right down, pulling the car into other air pockets in the car. Water could have came through the dashboard, the glove compartment, underneath the floorboards. I mean, you're talking about an engulfment
Right.
of
Yeah.
water, and it doesn't take that long afterwards where the weight of the car is then going to take on its portion of gravity at that time.
Exactly. And that's the whole idea of how does a boat float on water? One of the massive cruise line boats is what I'm referring to, or a cargo boat. It has an air pocket in there and a level of buoyancy where the water displaces, and there's, like I said, it's all a huge technical, scientific, sciencey thing that it's above my level of understanding. But I can tell you that's what it comes down to. And once that buoyancy, once the air pressure and the water are no longer an issue, John Q is exactly right. We have the Titanic effect.
Yeah. You get the pull effect. The car becomes sucked into a vacuum, if you will, where weight then takes control. And then you have the water impacting that car in every way, shape, or form until it is fully engulfed to every point. And then you have a vehicle that's just going to begin to just submerge as quickly as the weight of the car. A 2013 Honda CRV, four-door, what is it, an SUV?
It's a crossover.
Yeah, it's a crossover. Okay. And understanding that weight of the car being engulfed, yeah, it's no time for that car just to begin submerging underwater. Takes no time. And
Nosy bug.
especially where she was, because, that's a deep end. You've got what, 20 to 25 feet in depth off the shoreline there.
Mm-hmm.
And her car was 55 feet from that shoreline and sitting upside down in 14 feet of water.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I was showing the sonar images at the beginning.
Right.
From Adventures with Purpose. And, in very rudimentary way, before I continue, I'm going to make sure I say thank you very much for everybody for coming out and joining us. True Climb and other stuff, and as well as CP Cosplay. Thank you. I appreciate you coming out tonight, being able to make it out and join us tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and try to explain a technical thing that I don't understand. I understand the basics of why this happens. And as Cherokee Girl had said a few moments ago, let me just grab this comment here. Water retention is what causes an object to float on the water. You're right.
Right.
But I'm just not good enough to explain in science of how that happens. And the same thing with a vehicle. How do you would think a 2,000-pound vehicle floats for up to 30 minutes? Well,
it all depends on how it's built.
Right.
It all depends on how it's built.
Let's not forget, what was it, in the 60s? There was the amphibian. Was an actual vehicle.
Right.
If I have the right vehicle name correct, right vehicle.
Amphibian, right. Mm-hmm.
It was a vehicle specifically designed to be able to go in the water and act like a boat.
Yep. Roll off land and go into the water, and boom, it floats like a boat, acts like a boat.
Absolutely. Sylvia, from everything I researched or was able to research today, and from what I had heard from other channels, and taking a look at photographs and things like that, this actually fits better than this other location we were looking at yesterday. Because there, even though this is an old image from 2020, there has been some grass growing in this area, where there is none up on this side. And it seems like this was not as heavily, again, no criticism on the sheriff's department and the searchers. This was not as heavily searched as these other areas in the wider open portions of the water.
Right.
Whereas the current was actually stacking up water into this area.
Because it was certainly moving.
Mm-hmm. And if
moving,
John, if you remember last night, I made a point of saying there was the capacity of this lake, this reservoir and lake area, creek area, was actually considered to be at 65%, approximately 65%. It's probably I believe it was actually closer to 60%. And why is that significant other than this area going through a major drought? Is that water stacking up as the current was coming into this area. Think of like a surge type of deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
water was stacking up in this area.
Yeah, it's
You have
bottleneck
these
in that
little
area.
creek beds
Mhm.
that I'm pointing out up in here that couldn't handle the amount of volume that would have been coming into this area. And the water levels since then and the current calming down, it would make sense.
Mhm.
It would make more sense.
Now all they have to do during the investigation is to really do some great forensic work on the vehicle and base that information, whether they can get any kind of record to say if she was in that parking lot and she went where we just mapped out tonight, and they can find that information on the odometer so that they can be accurate to saying, okay, she left that parking lot or the vehicle was moved from this parking lot area, traveled and traversed this road, made a right turn, made a left turn, and came down near the water where the creek is. And this is where we found, with close examination of the road and her tires, matching up in some way, shape, or form to say, yeah, this is how the car traveled and got into the water. What's going to be important at this point is if the keys were in the ignition and the key had the ignition cycle on,
Mm-hmm.
or the key had the ignition cycle off,
Right.
or the key wasn't even in the ignition cycle, in the ignition key component itself.
Right.
That's going to be some very, very telling information.
Exactly. And
But
Cherokee Girl, I'm pointing out a lot of stuff for her tonight because she's making excellent points.
she's working tonight. Miss
Absolutely.
Cherokee, Miss Cherokee.
Absolutely. She's making a point of Susan Smith, which, if you go back and I believe it's Chris McDonough had did a video on her just about 2 or 3 months ago now, where he goes over the Susan Smith case because she's actually due for up for parole soon. But the point I want to make about this is that to get a good, she's exactly right. To get a good understanding about a vehicle submerging in water, go back and look at the Susan Smith case. I do believe she had a Mazda. I believe she did it as well. And the Honda CRV and there was a Mazda version of it. Mazda tries to say they're a bit of a higher end vehicle, but this is the same exact body type. I don't remember what vehicle that Susan Smith had, but I believe, if my memory serves me, that vehicle is said to have actually floated for almost 40 minutes. Now, the point I'm making about that is Chris McDonough actually goes into detail to explain that how the vehicle can float. Just like I say, go watch Adventures with Purpose vehicles when they do their searches and you'll be amazed. You will absolutely be amazed how far out a vehicle will float and how much is affected by the current of the water to where it comes to a resting spot on the bottom of a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to make that point before it got away. And so I wanted to dispel something, and I want to thank Cherokee Girl again for making I'm sorry. Wow, Cherokee Girl, you and I must be on the same wavelength, because this is a point I was actually going to get to later. There is a creator, and I'm going to address this. And I'm not defending Adventures with Purpose. I'm not defending anybody. I'm saying how meticulous you saw yesterday when Adventures with Purpose they were bringing that vehicle out of the water. Why on earth would you believe that they're going to open the vehicle to put the vehicle into neutral, whether it be in park or in drive? The last thing they want to do is trying to incriminate, or that's not the right word, tamper with, for lack of a better word, or to whatever the opposite of pristine is.
Corrupt.
I'm sorry.
Corrupt.
Sure, that we'll go with corrupt.
Change.
Tamper. There we go. Tamper. That's contaminate. That's exactly the words I was looking for, guys. And I was just thank you very much. Total mental blank. I knew what I was trying to say, but I couldn't think of the right word. I've seen it where Adventures with Purpose will not enter a vehicle. Compromise is another great word, guys. I want to thank you.
There you go. See, the students have arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Telling
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, and that would be a better word for it. Compromise.
Right.
To make changes to something that should not be changed. To hold the integrity of the object, subject, or component in its original form.
Right,
and
exactly.
it's hard to do, especially with a vehicle in water that's upside down in 14 feet of water. They literally had to change the position of the car, and this is what took them so long, because I'm sure that they had divers in the water taking underwater pictures of the cars, many of them as possible, to try to hold the integrity of how the car was found.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is even when they brought the vehicle on, and I've seen Adventures with Purpose do this before, even if once they bring the vehicle onto land, as they're tarping up the vehicle, they do not enter the vehicle. Not even the sheriff's department, police department. They're actually tarping the vehicle with them to make sure everything stays sealed in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Sediment, any sort of property, they want it contained in the vehicle, the crime scene intact.
Yeah.
They would literally drag the vehicle, no matter what kind of surface it's on, dirt, cement, paved road. They'll drag the vehicle onto the flatbed. They won't put that vehicle into neutral,
or change any of the dynamics on how the vehicle was found.
Exactly.
So, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Mr. Bossman Blake had sent me some photographs of how that vehicle was taken out of the water. And as they did so, you can actually see the drag marks behind the vehicle from where the front was, but you can see the drag marks of them pulling that vehicle out of its position. Now, it told me that if the car was in drive or even in neutral, they would have to make the decision to change that dynamic in order to move the car, make it easier for them to move that car. They may have made one of those changes just so that they could move the car. Now, if the car was in park, which would be kind of impossible, you know, the car got in the lake. How's it in park? You know, if it was in neutral or still in drive, and they pulled that vehicle out, would the tires roll easily?
Right. Well, that's going to depend on a couple of factors. And in this
Right.
case, I don't believe a couple of them are going to matter because of the idea that this is a vehicle that was not very long. It's only 2 weeks underwater.
Hmm.
So and that it was not gone had not gone a very far distance, and or it would have met the conditions where there was extreme braking going on, and there could have been. To take a look at the idea that this was cast iron braking, which a lot of cars do have. Cast iron is a surface. If you cook with cast iron, if you're not careful and attending to it being kept dry when not used and cleaned quickly after using, how quickly does a cast iron frying pan rust?
Hmm.
It's extremely quick. Or you don't have the extreme braking conditions that maybe an 18-wheeler would undergo, and that the brakes actually would seize up, weld themselves together. For anybody that may not understand what I mean by that,
Hmm.
where those conditions are not there, that you expect those issues. So if this vehicle was in park or in drive or in neutral, there is the possibility that those type of things can happen.
Right.
Cherokee Girl, I don't know if you're comfortable or not with coming on a live.
Yeah, I was about
But
to say, drop the link and let her come up and
you're making a lot of
chop it up with us. I mean,
absolutely,
she is on fire tonight.
absolutely. You are making a lot of great points, and I want to give you an opportunity to come up. And if you feel comfortable with speaking live,
Yes, 10 years
please,
of
please
swift
do.
rescue experience. Let's go, lady. Come on up.
You have an insight that we need. I'm going to put it that way. It's up to you whether or not you are
We would
comfortable
love
with
to
that.
have you. We would definitely love to have you.
In
John
fact, I'm
Q
going to.
RJ is calling up Cherokee Girl. She over there smiling, oh my God, they want me to come on panel. Yeah.
And if bear with me just a couple seconds, I'm actually going to ask because I don't have my own live up on YouTube tonight. I'm going to ask for either Cosplay or Carrie, who are now getting this link for the live to join. If they could post that in there, this is for Cherokee Girl or Bossman Blake, if he's still in the live. Hello, Todd Barker. How are you doing tonight?
I'm trying to look for that picture that Bossman Blake had sent me.
And Cherokee Girl, don't worry about having a camera or anything on. I'm not like that. I'm not like some other creators. If you feel comfortable joining me, I'm not going to ask you to prove it's you. I've seen you enough in chat rooms and things like that I believe that you are not going to be out to gouge me or anything like that.
Now, can I share something real quick?
Sure, absolutely, John.
Great. So that you'd be able to see. Exactly how they had the vehicle coming out of the water with the blue tarp covering the top of the car, just to give folks this impression here as to what I was talking about. These wheels, this is the front of the car here, Yeah, the back of the car fully covered in a tarp. This is what they covered first, which was the back of the vehicle as the car was being taken out of the creek. And you can see the deep definitions of the drag marks, which gives you the impression of, is that car, is it, where is the gear shift here? If it was in neutral, there would be a smoother rollout. This is a very deep drag here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that if the car was shifted in drive, would the wheels be as easy to roll as if they were in neutral? Just based on this impression alone, on how this car is. I was looking for how the car may have entered that water, looking for tire tracks before impact. It is very, very hard, especially in this area, to actually pinpoint and pick up the kind of tracks that would say, okay, we could see the direction from the area that she moved that car, or the car was moving, how it entered the water in this particular area.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, and that was hard. So I said, well, if the car was in drive, it has I believe, trying to look for the word, it has an idle type of speed where there's, no pressure on the gas pedal. You would still continue to roll idly while the engine is on.
Mm-hmm.
Could that have been, and this is just a possibility, could that have been the way this car rolled into the creek, being that there was no definitive tire marks that actually showed how she got into the creek? She idled from a position somewhere on ground and then ended up in the creek. Could she have fallen asleep? Was she trying to struggle to stay awake? There's a
Right.
lot of possibilities here, but that's what I was really looking for, was the entry point, which I'm sure the AWP was looking for in order to determine exactly where to begin searching. They were only in the water for what, about a half hour?
Yeah, if that,
From 10:40 to 11:15, at what, 35 minutes?
it
And
almost seems right. It almost seems as if they had a few suspected areas
right,
where they always look for where is a place of ease of access
right,
by
exactly,
studying maps, just like we do. Take a look at Google Maps. This
exactly.
is exactly what they do.
Yeah,
And this is probably the first area that they targeted. You would figure they come in, park in this area, the boat ramp area, that parking lot right by the boat ramp, put their boat in water, get their sonar equipment, and a half hour, 45 minutes, you would think that this was going to be the first location they hit. Or even if they didn't, they parked right on this beach area, and 35, 40 minutes, that make a plan of attack of searching and start executing that path. And like, what mind blown, it's right there
right.
moment. Turkey girl, I understand and I appreciate you sharing information. I'm not going to address what you had said as the reason why you cannot. Well, I don't want to put you in a position where you're going to breach an agreement. Would you be able to? What I will ask is, would you be able to have a interview or a conversation with me or other individuals not online? It may be through something like StreamYard or another service that we can actually sit down and talk with you and gain some knowledge from. It would not be recorded. It would not appear online without your permission.
And we certainly appreciate Cherokee Girl's insight, and if she has a specific type of agreement that won't allow her to go on a public platform to, express insights or anything, we can definitely understand that. And most certainly, we don't want you to do anything that is going to jeopardize that agreement that you have in place. But keep typing in the chat room, because your
Absolutely.
comments, your points of view are certainly important to this case.
Yeah, like I said, if we could arrange to sit down and talk with you, half hour, 45 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. Like I said, it might be through StreamYard, because we can have a few people from Table Talk Circle come in and talk with you to gain some knowledge, not for just this case, for other cases. We would greatly appreciate that. If you feel that would not breach your agreement, please email me, and we'll arrange that. You don't have to give me an answer tonight, but I would like to gain some knowledge, learn from you, because you seem like, from what you're saying, you have a lot of knowledge in this area. And I'm sure John Bossman and some other people from the group that John's putting together would also love to be able to get that kind of idea of knowledge.
Yeah, that would be the roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
And those are, private, backstage, non-live sessions, where, it's a think tank type of environment where we're all making specific, pointed contributions to finding the truth as content creators and as non-content creators.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so everyone's point of view is important, and if they have something that they can add to it from their perspective, that's the reason for the roundtable. I wanted to see also if I had another photograph, because Boss was just shooting me photograph after photograph, and I said, "Oh man, okay, well let me see what he's got over here." I mean, it was a bunch of them that he sent one behind the other, and I haven't really sorted them out to a point to where I can just consistently stay in a certain area. I wanted to share this just to give it an idea as to how far away they stated the vehicle was.
Okay.
And according to what we've been told from the conference, the vehicle was found 55 feet or thereabout away from the shoreline, and I think I shared that. So here we have the landmass here. We got the trailer truck here ready to receive the vehicle, and here you will see that buoy marker on where that car is. Let me see if I can do something here. No, I cannot. And as you see, the water is rippling. It's moving in this direction, back up out of that bottleneck area in the creek, and compare that to the shoreline. And here's a car right here. You can actually almost visibly see the image of the car underwater right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. So you see how small the car is compared to the landmass, compared to where it is. And you figure the color of the car being silver, how many times they may have searched this area by air and missed, just missed looking at this as some kind of an object, because we're dealing with law enforcement officials looking for someone that's missing. You see? Now, once they believe that this creek area, along with Boca Creek and Donner Creek and all the other areas that have bodies of water, which of course they searched, only to come back here to Prosser Creek and campgrounds to find that she wasn't far at all.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what was the road? Cherokee saying, what was the road like leading up to the water area? It was windy. It's a windy road. If I'm
Now
going to
you
go ahead
can
and take back.
now you can go back to your map, and then
Mhm.
we can follow that road, and you can get a close up of the parking area and try to follow that road to those points that you had drawn out, and it'll
I
give
still
you an
have
idea.
that.
Okay, great.
I still have that all mapped out,
Great.
and I held on to that. I didn't close that tab for a reason, just in case where we are right now. Okay, so we're going to go over here and just bring this to center a little bit here. So this looks like it is the most reasonable route. There is a road or a path of some kind. This is a parking lot here. And from all photos that I can find on this, it appears that the party happened in this general area,
Right.
coming into this wooded area.
Right.
Okay, so it's in this area where they were all gathered, not far
Yeah,
from that
because
parking lot.
because we also have to remember that Samantha had said that her and Kiely were going back and forth to the car.
Mm-hmm.
So the car, in a sense, wouldn't have been too far for them to go back and forth.
Right.
You know, if
And
they were the only ones that were doing it, or whether Kate was there. Mags left 10 minutes after arriving. She got a ride. She left. And so, you know, how many times did they make a trip back and forth to the car, whether they were getting alcohol or anything else like that? But one thing that we do know is that Samantha confirms that that's where Kiely had texted her mom at 11:30 and told her that you know, she would be home in 45 minutes, give or take.
now I zoomed in some. Some of my points were off the road, and following it looks like a little bit of a trail, walking trail.
Uh-huh.
So I'm adjusting my points some here, folks, just to give us a little bit of a better accurate. But it's not changing the distance. In fact, it only changed it by 0.01 of a mile.
Yeah, a small portion.
Yeah, tiny little bit. It's
Yeah.
not even really something that would be worth mentioning. I mean,
Now I'm thinking as you're making those adjustments, as you follow that road and you circle around,
mhm.
you'll get to that point. You'll get to that point.
Well, I'm
Right.
zooming out so we can.
Yeah, right there where that dot is, that small dot between the two big dots, right in the center. No,
Right here.
go down toward the creek. The one facing the creek. No, go back up to where the parking lot is. Retrace your steps, and I'll tell you when to stop. Da 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 da. Boom! Right there,
Okay.
right there. Zoom into that and see if there is a broken access point there.
No.
That
Well, yeah, kind of, sort of.
okay.
Maybe like an ATV vehicle type of
Yeah.
deal.
Yep.
Can
That's
see
what I'm
some
looking at.
trails.
Yep. And you start to see tracks in that area, in this particular area too. Could there have been maybe a shortcut, you know, of some kind? Because it
Yeah.
looks like a lot of track movement in that particular area too. where vehicles have moved about amongst those trees.
I would honestly think it wouldn't be more than like a dirt bike or an ATV type of vehicle, though,
Yeah,
not like a regular street legal car.
right. Because if you look at the terrain on the border, you'll be able to see other tracks too. See?
Right. This is something I was taking a look at, and it's something that
Right,
caught my attention last night.
right.
Was look at it, just this location that's over here where we were originally looking. Look at this. And granted, this is from
Crazy.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was not uncommon for vehicles. Look right here. Somebody was doing donuts.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not uncommon for vehicles to be in this sandy area. There you go. Look at that right there.
Close to the water. Yeah, we found a car and two people standing right there in front of it. If you, yeah, close by the water.
There's the two people.
Yep.
You get over here towards the boat ramp, and this is what I was suggesting last night. Was is it possible that the park police and everything like that, the park rangers like that, would intentionally drive through this area to cause it to be ruddy? If somebody were to go off road and in a almost like that rumble strip on the side of the highway, where all of a sudden you're in a really bumpy, crazy bumpy, speed bumpish area,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd want to stop and be like, "What the heck?"
Right.
Which is why I was saying it just does not. Things do not make sense yet.
Right. Yet. That's right. And there's so many different things we still have to find out. Did Kylie have her phone? Was the phone in the car? That's another important piece of evidence that is going to be looked at very carefully. If it was in the car at the time she went into the water, does give us an idea about 12:33.
Exactly.
You know, so nothing has verified, and according to the sheriff's department, nothing has verified that there was a call made anytime after that, or else they would have included Samantha's 12:36 call.
I'm just come back over to where the latest information, again, I'm going to put it that way. Latest information seems to say that this area was more likely to be the area where she was. Nobody's actually confirming this yet. This is why I'm saying we've got to, no matter what any other creator wants to judge, jump to a judgment. I have my own suspicions. This isn't today is not the day for my suspicions. So I keep saying, yet let the process work.
Not until law enforcement gives us an official statement based on their investigation, whether it be the forensics that are being done by the FBI on the vehicle, because that was mentioned in the conference, or any of the additional pieces of evidence, her phone, her car keys, her wallet, were they in the car?
Mm-hmm.
You see, they have to begin to eliminate all types of processes. Was this a robbery? You know,
Or if going by my last live, I said that this campground was known to be Fight Club. Some owner is not very responsible about their campground area that they're managing, they own, to allow that type of activity happen here. Could she have been given something that people would have bought off the street, let's say? Because I believe that the party that was happening here was a cover for Fight Club to be happening then. And it was also a fishbowl party.
Right. Everybody chip in and bring what you got, and we'll all share it.
Mm-hmm. So
Now we'll also find out too, uh, which was brought up in the conference about the hoodies. Well, the hoodies in the car. Did Kiely get sick? Did she throw up and had to change? And hence the reason for the two different color hoodies? There's going
where
to be a
was she
lot of
in
this
the vehicle?
information. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of this information that's going to come out that's going to tell us about the hoodies as to the reason why there are two hoodies in this case. Did she at one point, was she inebriated enough? And when you have someone that hasn't, gone way over their limit, they usually get sick.
Mm-hmm.
The body doesn't, the body is going to reject what it doesn't normally have in it. And she could have gotten sick. She could have thrown up, and hence the reason for the change. But all
Right.
that's going to come out, and I'm not speculating here. I'm just, giving my opinion to say if she had to change from one hoodie to another, why is that so? And the only thing I can think about is her being that inebriated enough, not being used to being that inebriated. She got sick and had an accident and decided to change since another hoodie was available. But if that's in the car, that's evidence too.
Right. And that's the thing is, a lot of times in an investigation that we can sit here and talk about things on YouTube. Connecticut Jenkins comes to my mind because I know you've done extensive work on that, you and Bossman Blake,
Right.
where all of this information has tons and tons of information has come out, and it just does, with the information that has come out, just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I don't remember when the Connecticut Jenkins met her demise. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
3 years ago,
approximately.
somewhere like that.
Yeah. And in fact, next month we'll close 5 years.
There you go. So at this point in that situation, and this is why I'm bringing that up. At that point in that situation, you're not waiting for autopsy results. You're not waiting for forensics results. You're not waiting for a DNA result. All that's been hashed out. All that's been made discovery at this point. And when they do actually get to that trial, it'll all become public record.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Especially with it being a civil trial, it
Right.
will be public record.
Oh yeah.
So
here you have a missing persons case. That's how it opened up. That has been now escalated to a death investigation, which changes once again the whole dynamic. I want to, help people to understand that the case dynamics have changed now. This now is going to take on a whole new different turn because now they've got specific evidence. They've got a body, they've got a car, they've got everything that they need now to really determine a lot about what happened. And then they're going to go and then compare that evidence back toward the statements that was already taken by police and law enforcement and see if everything matches up. And if it doesn't, somebody's going to go back into re-questioning mode, which I'm sure they'll do anyway. And they should in this case, because there's been some statements made that were definitely inconsistent pertaining to how Kiely was left.
Not only that, but the time frame, the storyline.
Yes.
It's all over the place. You're following directions to get to somewhere, and there's a detour on the way, and the cop says, "Oh yeah, you just go here." you go down this road and then make a turn down this road, but they don't tell you that there's another road involved.
Mm-hmm.
That's the impression I'm getting from some of these stories that have been people have been talking, and when they've been talking, they're jumbled. They're forgetting information that they said to one place, and I don't want to say Don Wells the story where you're filling in details. More of this is like a teenager's mind just skipping and racing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it still leads to questions.
And then at the same time, too, if you did have 200 to 300 people at a party and everybody's got cell phones, what do they normally do? They shoot pictures, they take videos, but nothing, almost literally nothing, is on social media regarding this party. And so you would have to take under consideration, was there really 200 to 300 people out here? And that still really needs to be confirmed, no matter who's questioned. For none of this to have shown up on Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media platforms that one could upload. Here's a party that we went to, and we're talking about young college kids, so to speak, young adults now preparing to go to college, or and then some. They would normally post pictures. They want to show you where they've been. They want to show you how much fun they've had. Oh, you've missed it, so they can brag. Hence the peer pressure factor is a big part of this too. Yeah, no one person out of 200 to 300 people. I was just saying that I didn't post a picture or video of that.
That's exactly what I was just waiting.
Yeah. It's like it's like, wait a minute, so nothing.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's really incredible to really believe that there were that many people out there, and literally almost there's no evidence of it.
Yeah, and Turkey Girl, you're amazing. You're making amazing points, and you're saying the things that we're all processing through. I'm obviously not a female, thankfully. No disrespect to female, but I like being a guy. And she's asking for the ladies in the chat that have worn bodysuits. Are you going to wear a bodysuit to a party that you're going to have to use the restroom out in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Let's just throw that out. Let's just throw into there. You're going to go camping. You're going to go somewhere where you have the potential of wanting to swim. And you're just going to go jump in the water. That's it, all this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to wear that kind of outfit. And I have a sister. I have a half sister, and I know from being around them, you don't wear stuff like that out in the woods.
Yeah, no. And maybe hence that may be part of the reason for the hoodie change. Maybe there was a change of clothes, but we still don't know if there was or not.
Right.
But these two hoodies are part of the case and have to be tied in somewhere because they've been brought out by the law enforcement. From the 608 video surveillance footage, where we have a still shot of Kiely in that bodysuit and in her chino jeans, her pants, is that what she wore out here to the park? Now, you're near water. This is late at night. Things do cool down. The sun is gone. You're near a body of water, which puts you in a much cooler area. So you're not going to have the high temperatures that you would normally have in the day. You would have to consider nighttime temperatures to be lower. So hence, once again, the reason perhaps maybe for the hoodies to be present during the time of her being out here in this park.
Mm-hmm.
You could have
So
gone back to the car at some point to throw the hoodie on because it was getting chilly outside.
So I'm just picking out cosplay. I know she's one of my mods, and I'm not picking her out specifically, but Rain is saying the same thing, or I'm sorry, somebody else was saying the same thing about what they would be wearing. It's I'm just using cosplay as an example. She says I'm wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a hoodie. You know, if I as a guy, I'm wearing a pair of sneakers, a pair of jeans, and probably taking a hoodie and wearing just a comfortable t-shirt that I don't care if I sit on the ground, muddy or not. If I get mud or dirt, I don't care. You know, I'm going to still look decent, respectable, but I'm not going to be wearing my best clothes.
I hope not.
When I went out and looked at the places that Summer Wells had been back in June, I didn't wear my best clothes then because I didn't know the conditions of what it was going to be. It was going to be completely muddy, sinking in a mud hole, quick mud. I didn't know anything like that was going to happen. And I'm actually grateful I wore the clothes I wore back then. Because it was clothes that I didn't mind if I got a little bit muddy.
Mm-hmm. And she was supposed to go to a car show.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then this party was, I guess, planned by Sammy in some way, shape, or form. I mean, this was her brainchild, or was it just the small group that she was in planned to go to a bigger party that was hosted by somebody else?
So, Carrie will correct me on details if I get them jumbled up here, but apparently Sammy, who is, I'm going to say 18 years old, same
Yes.
age as Jagger,
Mm-hmm.
had a little entrepreneurial business of party planning these type of parties,
Okay.
where she had actually used things like Instagram, not Instagram, my apologies. There's two chat services. I'm drawing a mental blank. I said them on my last live. One is a yellow icon with a white, it looks like a ghost. Is that Snapchat? And then there's another one. I forget what it is off the top of my head. Chat, I'm sure somebody's going to pick it up in just a second here.
Something that they would use to a post to invite folks to party.
Yes, and TikTok. There we go. That's the other one where they actually have a way of you can send basically like a broadcast. You know, the old radio station broadcast. You have to be within a certain radius of a tower to be able to pick up the radio. You know,
right?
But it's electronically, and it uses your location-based services, and will do the same exact thing for a limited amount of range, where it'll broadcast anybody that has this app. And they were putting advertisements out for a party to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what it was. Is that what it's called? It's called tagging double rainbows. But I think a couple of the couple different programs I mentioned, Snapchat and TikTok, they call them different things, but basically they do the same thing. And these broadcasts were going out, and reminders went out, and so on and so forth. And from my understanding is that part of her plans Kylie's plans was she was going to go to the party. It was the last little bit of a summer send off, high school, whatnot, before she actually started college classes.
Yeah, because the way they made it appear that this was advertised for quite some time gives me
I would
the
say,
idea. What's
yeah,
that?
it was. I would say it was advertised over the course of maybe 2.5 months.
Okay, okay. You see, and yeah, that would definitely lead me to believe that there would be a large group out here designated. What is it? August 5th, August 6th, to
Hmm.
be out here, and if Sammy and Jagger was responsible for this type of an event and everything, it it definitely puts those two at the top of the list, to for law enforcement to really keep all of that information together. Now that they found the car, now that they found a body in the car, which might be most likely Kylie, once again, they're going to tie all of the connections from beginning, middle, up until they found the car all together, and they're going to be able to strategize how they want to proceed in their investigation, now a death investigation. And then they're going to review the statements that were made by the individuals who volunteered that information, what folks have not been still today interviewed, and see where things lie. But once again, the heaviest part of this for me is that Kylie was Sammy's ride.
Mags,
Mags?
Mags, and Sammy went to the party together.
Okay, so how did Kylie go to the party?
I'm sorry. I did I say Sammy?
Yes.
It was Mags and Kylie. My
That's okay.
apologies.
Mags and Kylie. Okay.
My
So
apologies, folks.
you've got the two ladies together. They're going to the party, and I guess they meet up with Sammy there. If
Hmm.
I'm following the storyline correctly. And Sammy is the one who designated Kylie to be her ride back.
At first, yes.
Okay.
And then within about 10 minutes time,
10 minutes. Uh-oh.
it was chat. Please don't hesitate to correct me. I believe it was within 10 minutes time. Mags had said, "I'm out.
I'm out, right?
This is not a safe place for me to be. I'm out."
Huh?
And it was either Sammy or Mags that was saying, in 10 minutes time, she was so inebriated. Kylie was inebriated that it was not able to, it was not safe for her to drive home or anybody to go home with her.
Mm, mm, mm. Now think about that statement there. It
There you
wasn't
go.
safe for any one of them to go home with her. Now, what crosses your mind at that time? Okay, I ain't going home with her. Now she all messed up. She's too far turned up, and I'm not going to take a chance on getting in a vehicle with someone that's under the influence like that. These are friends now. These are
Hmm.
friends, and hence does it tell you to leave her alone? To get
Hmm.
away from her? To make other plans and leave her out there by herself? I wouldn't think so. That's why I said last night they should have called an Uber. They should have called mama or dad. Say, look, Kylie's not feeling well. We're over here at this party at Prosser Lake, and she is in no condition to drive. Can you all come out here and come pick your daughter up?
Now, I'm going to say this. I found an address, and I'm not going to put it out there publicly, this address. John Q doesn't even know this address. I've not shared it with anybody because I'm not sure this is correct yet. But if this address is correct, Kiely had lived approximately 20 minutes
from the park.
from this area.
Okay.
And this is not by getting on 80. This is not by getting on the interstate. This is by back roads. It's approximately 20 minutes.
Okay. So you've got what, 89 that runs over there too?
Interstate is 80. Let's go ahead and just pull back here a little bit on the map here, and we'll take a look.
Okay, yeah, because you've got Interstate 80 that runs
This is
basically from
80.
north to south. There you go. Yep.
And I'm not focusing on any particular area. I'm just, going
I think it's 89 or 79 or something like that. One of those are a small local route. Yeah.
Right. This would have been the most likely road to come into and out of the camp area through back roads and whatnot to get over here.
Okay. Could you drop the little guy down there so we can, at a crossroad intersection, maybe it'll be a sign that could tell us what that route is. Perfect. Because it would definitely give us an idea as to one of the local routes or roads. So you're at Adler Creek Road. Okay.
Highway something 9. Let me get a different angle on it here.
Yeah. Yeah. Take your time. Because that would be one of the local routes that
East Adler Creek Road is what we're on.
Adler Creek Road, right? Mm-hmm. So we can travel either left or right until we can get a handle on
Highway 89 north.
89. Okay, then I was right. 89. So you got 89 north running to through 89 south.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what, if I'm not mistaken, I heard one of the videos where a guy was actually doing a drive through this area and stated that 89 was one of the local routes that she could have taken to get back home. She wasn't too far, as you pointed out.
If the address, like I said, and when I say I've shared this with nobody, I mean literally nobody I've shared this with. If the address is true, she would have definitely been traveling down this road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just to give you an idea where we're at in this, just a reminder.
Yeah, compared
nice
to
little hill.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the police were having their press conferences from.
Right. Yep. Because that's where the police department is, in that area.
It is in this area, but they use this this recreational park, the Donna Recreational Park. They were using that to make the press conferences that they were holding from this park, this building, this actual building right here.
Right.
Now, forgive me, I'm a little bit gonna get oriented here with where everything is. Just reloading it, guys. Bear with me just a moment here.
Take your time. You know how computer technology can be. It's like you're looking for one thing and it's taking you completely someplace else.
Yeah, for instance, it took me all the way over to Reno just now. Let me refine my bearings and I'll share it back in just a moment here.
Yeah. No problem.
Not like I just don't want everybody watching me scroll around a map with nothing to focus on.
You're also
got some comments going on here in chat.
Yeah, you're also at 154.50 on time.
Okay.
And we want to welcome every one of you to tonight's special live coverage.
There we go. This isn't Google Earth. However, I'm going to go ahead and share this because it actually shows what may be an accessible road a little bit better. So you can understand the points I was plotting earlier.
I hear you, D-Love. No, we're not going to take an intermission.
No, we're good. We're right back at it. Don't worry.
Give everybody a 5-minute break. Okay, folks, and go refresh your drinks. Go to the ladies' room. Go to the bathroom.
If you need to go refresh your drink, go right ahead. We'll still be here. You all know how John Q and I get when we break out the maps, man. We can sit there for hours on a square inch if we had to.
We can have some intermission music for you and pull up a lounge chair, you know. Oh yeah.
So this is this is Google Maps.
Okay.
And this is the same area.
Right.
But you can see in this one where Google Earth you weren't seeing it. You can see what would be considered to be car accessible routes.
Yeah, it's more defined here.
Right. So
now, are you able to zoom in a little bit tighter?
Oh yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
We can get a lot tighter.
Okay. So we can crawl around, start from the parking lot and then follow that route like we were doing in the beginning.
Okay, so this is the parking lot.
See if anything has changed in terms of what we were looking at on Google Earth.
Yes, because this is actually saying it's an image from 2022.
Okay.
Whereas the other image through Google Earth where we're looking at was from 2020.
Right. Okay. So this gives us a more updated image of the area.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you see that side route there, that the one, and I'm looking right dead at it, that goes right out of, right? Keep going, right there. See?
Mm-hmm.
You see how you come right out of there? Right. And now you can go south. If you went south on that route, where would it take us?
To the creek bed.
No. Go to the other side. Go to the other side. Pull it back. Okay. Now take that route and go south. And hence, we're in the same area, right?
Yep. It puts us exactly in the same area.
Bingo. That's what I was talking about. Okay. You see, so it had to be a shorter route other than the one we've outlined earlier to say that there was a shortcut.
Yep.
That she didn't have to go that far, but she made a left turn. Or, well, we're just assuming she did, but the vehicle made a left turn out of that area. And it's funny. It's very funny to say, oh, well, I'm going to make a left turn and go to the darkest part of the park and not know where the hell I'm going. You know, to think that she would be, you know, in her right state of mind at the time, you know, traveling. So I'm thinking, and here's where I will, you know, toss in my opinion. It's the shortest route. If you notice, it's the shortest route to dump a car. If anything happened in that parking lot, when she got back to that parking lot, Sammy's gone, Meg's is gone, Kate, she's gone, and she tries to get out of that parking lot. She takes that route, not knowing where the hell she's going, and we're thinking about an accidental situation here. To think that she would drive there herself, I can't see it. I can't see it. Now, if I flip that and say I'm with her, it would be ideal because it's the shortest route to dump the car. And now I'm going to leave. If I am a third party or a fourth party, someone looked at this to say this would be the shortest route to clear everything up after whatever was done. And like I said, this is my opinion. This is the little speculation here, just to think on both sides of the coin, as I always do. If this was of her doing, this would be kind of hard for me to hold. We're not without additional information that would lead me to believe that, yeah, this is all her doing, and she ended up in the lake.
Right. And that's exactly where I start at.
Right.
Is we have a lot of information. And I think I was making a joke with Boss Man in your chat yesterday, in your live. I said, as I'm making a statement about a puzzle, and I said, man, I think this puzzle has too many pieces.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to that effect. And the it has everything to do with not all this information that we have fits in. Like, just comparison, for comparison, I know I was critical of Hawkins County Sheriff's Department at the beginning. Just for comparison, we have a lot of missing information still.
Yeah.
And information that just doesn't belong at all.
I agree.
Half the puzzle pieces are for another puzzle, and half the puzzle pieces are missing.
I agree.
But in this one, we have a lot of information, but we've got to wait.
Right.
And this is why I want to focus on everybody understanding. Waiting on this one is important, because it seems, and I don't want anybody, and I'm not going to do it. I've already seen other channels doing this, and I'm going to say the same thing I said 2 weeks before, at the beginning of June, when it was coming up to the 1-year anniversary. If you find a channel, if you find a live that is jumping to conclusions, turn them off. If you want to find out what is going on, stick to the channels. And it doesn't have to be John Q, myself, Bossman Blake. It could be somebody else that's covering the story. But make sure they're sticking to the facts. They're not going off on a wild hair saying, oh, I know what happened.
Yeah, that's impossible, because they weren't there and they don't know what happened.
Exactly. Exactly.
All we can do is look at the information, the factual information that came from law enforcement. We can look at the information on the map, as we're doing tonight. We can begin to see exactly the location, which is a fact, of the park that Kiely was in, along with her friends, the party that took place at this location that Kiely was a part of. And we can actually see how far land and water are in this area. And up from yesterday, now we know that her car ended up not too far from the sanctuary in that lake. That's what we got. That's what we got. And law enforcement said we were not going to make a comment on this or that or this right now. It's an open, ongoing investigation. They just got the car out of the water yesterday. So we have to give them time to process forensics. We have to give them time to perform an autopsy. We have to give them time for toxicology. And then we have to give them time to reconstruct their strategy on where this investigation is going now that it is a death investigation.
Right. And trust me, guys, we are at the most boringest part of an investigation in this type of matter.
Yeah.
Because the wheel is going to turn slowly. And we have a society where, and this is no criticism, again, no criticism on anything, just I'm making a statement. We have a society that wants results now.
Yeah, instant coffee.
Yeah, exactly. We love our fast food restaurants. We love our.
We want to see the bracelets hit somebody's wrist already, you know.
Sometimes you have to move at a snail's pace.
Yes, just like they did yesterday, removing that vehicle. They took their time to be sure to preserve everything,
Exactly.
which is critically important, especially when you make a finding like that.
Well, yeah, nosy bug. Ironically, that you're saying that, it's not that's not a bad thing though in this case.
Because we are nosy.
That's not a bad thing in this case because we're at the same time as we're trying to, we're talking about it.
Much love to you, nosy bug.
Right, exactly. I love the irony in your statement there. It's not a bad thing that we want to keep a story, an eye on a story or a situation that happened. Let's look at, just throw it out a couple things out there. Yeah, I just mentioned one, Summer Wells, Connecticut Jenkins, throw in there Buffalo, New York, and how quickly those faded from news.
Yeah.
There's a thing about, you have to hold a person that's in a position of power or of authority to a responsibility that they have to report and tell people certain information. As long as it's not going to interfere with them doing a proper investigation, they should be talking about it with the press. They should be talking about it with people. These results should come out in the news. The autopsy, the toxicology, if they decide they have to do toxicology, all that information should come out in the news.
Yes. And with the investment of time and the amount of hours the last 2 weeks searching for Kiely, I have to say that the sheriff's department, along with search and rescue, all of law enforcement in this case, are keeping the family, Kiely's mom and dad, and all the immediate family members, the utmost on top of everything, to make sure that they are taking extreme care of this case to preserve it as tightly as they are, without doing any hand tipping or any kind of speculation of what they may think happened. No, they're going to allow the facts to unfold in this case as they should, and to go
Absolutely.
as slow and easy does it. Like I said, it's always best to go slow, especially with a finding like this, because you won't miss anything if you take it slow and if you're
Right.
doing your job thoroughly. And so far, they, I applaud them. For the last
Yeah,
2 weeks of
absolutely.
their efforts searching for Kiely up until that team, AWP, came in and found her the day they hit the water. Now that's progress now. We've gotten to a point in this case, 2 weeks now, and sometimes these cases can take months, but 2 weeks, okay, there has been major progress in this case, to say the least. And with law enforcement taking the extra care on really preserving this case the way it is, I'm so far so good. I'm with them.
Oh, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
with them as well.
Yeah. Compared to other police cases that we've covered, I'm with them.
Well,
I
my
am with
goodness,
you. Oh, yes.
folks, if you have not seen Carrie or cosplay, if you're here, do me a favor, drop Miss Q's link to her channel. The just to give you an example of what we are not with the police on. Take a look at what's the premiere that she had done earlier today, a little while ago. That is just unacceptable, but police activity.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the one where they were chasing down a guy that bought cold French fries or got cold French fries and called the police. I'm talking about the other video she did.
Yeah,
I don't
with the police
care.
beating the hell out of somebody, and they're
Oh
supposed
yeah.
to, protect and serve because they've taken an oath, and she read their oath, and yet she shows you what police are doing in their jobs, which is totally contradictory to the oath they took.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great short video. It's not long. I think she did a great job. Her commentary was on point. And it really keeps us vigilant to say, yeah, we've got to hold all of law enforcement accountable.
Absolutely. And I'm not trying to be political in my chat, but I'm going to say this: it doesn't just go for police; it goes for elected officials as well.
Everybody that
Because
serves the public. That's right.
it's just, if you're in a public office, you have the responsibility to the public to be candid and honest with the public, not what's been going on. And when I'm saying candid and honest, I mean their actions as well as what they're saying. And I'm going to get off that soapbox as soon as I stepped on it, because that conversation goes downhill and into politics way too quick than I
Yes.
do on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
If you want to know that side of me, get in contact me through my email address, and we can talk in Discord. I have no problem discussing that kind of thing there.
And Cherokee Girl makes a very good point as well. If this is deemed accidental and they don't find any foul play whatsoever, then I would totally agree with what Cherokee Girl just mentioned.
All right, so let's see. If it
You're
is
right
ruled
there.
accidental, then it is up to the parents, because they are the next of kin, and medical staff cannot release that information because it violates HIPAA laws. Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
And I would say to keep an eye on findkiely.com.
Yes.
Because that is the website, either somebody that's a PR liaison. And I apologize if I'm throwing out $5 words that anybody's not familiar what a liaison is. Just think spokesperson. I try to keep my language as simple as possible. I apologize.
That's $5 in tax included.
It's somebody's running that website, either the family or they have, like I said, a PR type person, spokesperson that's doing that for them. I was looking at that earlier, and the only reason I didn't bring it up is the last time I looked at that, and it may have changed since the press conference.
Right.
But in the next couple of days, that's probably going to be your first source of information.
Direct.
It's going to be your first source of confirmation that it was definitely Kiely, or whatever the case may be. And which leads me into, I want to play some of the press conference from the police department, the sheriff's department today. Yes, Cherokee Girl, we appreciate you so much dropping all the facts that you've been and dropping today, because a lot of positive, a lot of great information has come out. just from what you're saying.
And it's great that she's part of tonight's live, being here and sharing that information. Definitely. Even though she's in the chat, it's making a very powerful live tonight.
Absolutely.
Even more so, because we're all following the case. We're all coming and sharing our perspectives, independent of one another, and how these pieces connect, what they're connecting to, and the direction that this case is going. We all appreciate everyone's support, especially of RJ hosting tonight's live, and the live I did last night on Table Talk, which was a special live where RJ and Mr. Bossman Blake was a part of the panel, and we chopped through about 4 hours on that live, and we were just developing the case together, just like we're doing now.
If this does turn out to be deemed to be criminal investigation going on past the next couple days, or a toxicology report coming out, definitely going to be doing more lives. If it does turn out to come out to say it was an accidental, probably we'll have one more on John Q or Bossman Blake or my own channel, and then we're going to respectfully leave the case and to let the family have time to mourn, time to come together, and not only, depending on your religious belief, but not only to mourn their loss, but celebrate her life.
Yeah.
Different aspects of different religions, you have your own rituals. But I don't want, actually, I think this will be okay.
Are you going to be sharing the press conference?
Yes, I am. I'm just getting that.
Okay.
Right.
And I am so glad that you started your channel. You have no idea, and I know that we were kind of nudging you and kicking you and elbowing you. Come on, RJ, get the channel up, man. You'd be great. Your voice, your opinions, your insight, commentary. It'll take some time getting used to working StreamYard, but as you do, it'll get easier and easier and easier. You won't have, too much to do because you know exactly what you want to present and how you want to present it. I'm just so glad that you decided to, have a living room conversation or conversations in the living room.
Right. Yeah, this living room's quite large. Just think of I don't know if let's see, what was that show?
Now, are there going to be certain parts you're going to play, or you're going to play it in its entirety with commentary, or?
I'm going to play the majority of it. Okay. I think there's a few spots that are important. And more so than some of the questions the reporters are asking, because be honest,
they asked some very good questions. My goodness. There was one question that said, was there another body in the car?
Oh yeah, I did catch that. Now, please understand, I was working when they had this press conference. So I was catching bits and pieces as I could. So some of this you're going to hear, if I stop this all of a sudden and go, wait, what? Wait, did they really say that? May be this first time that I'm hearing this, and I'm just like, something majorly catches my attention. So please don't think that, if I do that, something's wrong. It's just, I admittedly will say that I only had bits and pieces earlier.
Right. And the key to really understanding these pressers, these conferences, is that people get an opportunity and a chance to see how law enforcement responds to critical questions. If they're asked properly and the right questions are asked, you can get to see where what they're giving out and then what they're holding back. It also tells us too how much knowledge they have of actually what to say during these pressers.
Right. And my goodness, sometimes the questions a press asks, it just makes you go, don't.
I mean, look at those microphones all up on top of the podium there.
Oh, that's how much national attention
Oh,
this actually got.
no.
You have Fox News, you have local station, I don't know what station. News 4, that looks like a local station. I don't know what this station is. It looks like another local station.
Right.
But this is again, I'm just going to throw this out here real quick. I did show this earlier today, but we are still going to be covered under the Fair Use Act. Copyright disclaimer under Fair Use Act. Let me actually go ahead and switch that.
I also have to send you the content disclaimer that goes along with the Fair Use Act that won't hold you responsible for any of the content shown. It's not your opinion, and you know, to also tighten up on what you share in terms of media coverage, news media coverage that comes directly and shared on the internet. But I'll be sure to email that to you later on tonight. Because I looked at that, and I looked at that disclaimer. I said, I recognize that, and I made it big that way so there'd be no way no one could miss it.
I'm just reading Cherokee Girl's comment, and I'm sorry, he caught my attention and it made me laugh. Yeah, the living room is quite large. It's got plenty of room to grow. So if you know somebody that's interested in following that's not here tonight, please let them know about my channel. Share my channel, share my information out to them. I'm very realistic. I try to be very realistic on the information I bring you. Occasionally, we like to have a little fun, and we do dabble with some other topical information. Haven't done that in a while. You never know when that will happen again. And in fact, I might.
We're in the living room. We're in the living room having a conversation, and we've got a brand new couch. We've got a new recliner. We've got Carrie Lawson in here. We've got Cherokee Girl buying things for your channel. You see, and that's why I'm so glad that you started your channel. So you're getting furniture and everything tonight. My goodness.
So yeah, we already have a nice huge fire pit in the middle. You know, it has its own chimney system and everything. So when it starts to get cold outside, everybody will be plenty warm. You know, we're ready.
There you go.
But copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So even though I did share that earlier, I just wanted to share that again because we are going to be showing a different video here, and the source of it is off of Facebook, so nobody can claim that I'm trying to say this is my video or anything like that. I'm telling you where it's from.
Right.
But let's go ahead and take it. Now, this is 23 minutes. I am not going to play every single question that's being asked. If I start to feel like they're getting to the dope questions that are just insulting to intelligence, I'm going to cut it off. Or if I feel like we need to pause and take a closer look at what somebody said, we're going to do that. So bear with me a moment here. You know what? I just realized I never put this out on Facebook today. So that's a dope moment on me.
And you see the intimacy of a good chat room, where everyone is sharing their thoughts and comments, and everyone's having a very easy evening, less stress, no drama. It's beautiful to see. And I'm glad that your lives and your chat room is just the way mine is. Everyone gets along. Everybody's having an informative, educational, time, and it's great. It's great.
Oh my goodness. It's been one of those days. Let me tell you, it's been one of those days. I'm playing the video.
Yeah.
I had myself muted, didn't realize that it wasn't shared yet.
Okay. See, I told you we're still working on StreamYard,
No, you know what it is my mind went to be in vacation mode. I start vacation on Wednesday evening. So my mind went to be on vacation mode already. It's like,
Yeah,
I
I
know
know
I
you're
have
not sitting
one
back
more
there
day
by
of work.
I know you're not sitting back there by yourself watching it while we're sitting over here waiting for you to share it. And it's
Oh
like,
yes, I was. I was like, oh no, no.
okay.
Like I said, my mind wants to be in vacation mode already.
It's like, okay, folks, we'll just go ahead and chat while RJ watches the video, and then he'll chime in later to let us know, oh, did you hear that question? And we'll be sitting up here saying, what question?
Yes, like I said, I got the dunce cap. I'm wearing the dunce cap now
No,
because that
you gotta enjoy these moments though. You gotta enjoy these moments. You try to make it as smooth transition as you can, but you have to enjoy those. Duh. Damn, I forgot to share it.
the thing is like I'm getting a good laugh at myself on this, so I'm not offended by anybody else getting a good
No,
laugh.
that's
But
good. That's good.
wow,
No stress on you though. See, if you can take that like that, there's no stress. There's no stress.
oh my
I love it
goodness,
because
look.
those moments happen to me. I think I'm sharing something, or I forget to unshare something to reshare on a different tab. And I got Mr. Boss Blake in the background. John, are you sharing the right tab? No, man, I forgot to change the tab.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Boss Blake. Thank you, bro.
Oh yeah.
So,
So here we go.
yeah, those moments.
Here we go. Now it's shared.
Okay, we're back to the microphones, folks. Let's see.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Moon. I'm the sheriff of Nevada County, and appreciate everyone's response and being here today to get some more information into our investigation. We have been working with the family and really since the very beginning trying to make sure that we focus on all of our efforts being for the family. And at this time, last night we did receive some information of the recovery of the vehicle that we've been searching for, and it was located inside the Prosser Lake. It's located within a search zone that we have been searching since the very beginning of our operation. We were very fortunate that we had the assistance of a volunteer group, the Adventures with Purpose, that came out with some very specific expertise and were able to help us in locating the vehicle that we had been searching for several weeks. It's at these times that we really want to recognize the reason why we're all here, and that is for this family. We've said that from day one with our staff, the incredible amount of collaboration that we've received from our partners in this region. Clearly being a mountain town, we're used to having great collaboration, knowing that none of us have enough resources to go around. But when we all work together, I think it is an incredible show of how committed all of our agencies are for our community here. Working hand in hand in unified command, joint command with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. Folks from the California Highway Patrol, the Truckee Police Department, and our friends from the Federal Bureau of Investigations. The amount of effort that all of these agencies put together really truly is why we're here today. And as we eliminated a lot of tips and information that was coming in, I think it's very important to understand that all of that work did lead us to this time. And being able to focus on the services that we provide to our families here that are impacted. We've recovered the vehicle. We recovered the vehicle last night. We have located a decedent inside the vehicle. We believe it is our missing person. We have not been able to positively identify, but it's more than likely where we are today. And we wanted to make sure that the family had all that information first. The last thing we want to do is have them learn information outside of our team. So I think that is one of the points that I really want to make sure that our communities know and the folks that are watching today know is truly how committed we've been throughout these last few weeks in coming to this resolution. It's still an active investigation. And I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. Again, it is still a very active investigation. So again, I appreciate everyone being here.
Guys, I'm pausing it right here, and now I'm speaking up. Do you hear how much hesitation is in her voice and what she's saying? This goes beyond just remembering a prepared statement, in my opinion. They know something that they're not publicly saying yet. Something from what they have seen and what they know at the current time. Just in my opinion, there's going to be more coming from this than the press has reported or is able to report at the moment. D-Love, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. John, are you getting the same impression so far?
Took the words right out my mouth.
There's something to this yet.
And they are being very, very careful.
I'm gonna after we play through this video, I'm gonna show you a picture if I can find it again. I think it's very telling. But we're gonna get there in a moment.
They're getting this information out. It is the reason why we're here is because of the community support and the amount of work that was put into this investigation to where we could clearly identify very specific areas to search. The Adventures with Purpose folks did just a fantastic job at being able to locate the vehicle as quickly as they did, based on, again, a lot of heavy lifting that the folks behind me have done throughout the last couple of weeks. So I appreciate everyone being here, and we'll open up for some questions.
I'll go first.
Yes, ma'am.
What agency called in Adventure with Purpose, and when did you decide if it was you guys? that we needed this extra help.
Captain Sam Brown from my agency will be happy to answer this question.
Yeah, thanks. The question was, is which agency requested? I'm not exactly sure that an agency had reached out and requested from within our unified command, but as everybody's reading online and seeing all the information that was coming out, and we realized that there was an interest from Adventures with Purpose, we did link up that group with Sergeant Mike Towers with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. They had lots of communication as they were going to be traveling to this area, and then a lot of detailed information that was shared that wasn't necessarily out to the public yet that hopefully was of assistance to helping them locate the area to go to.
You said the car was found in the area where you've been searching since the beginning. What did AWP have that maybe you guys didn't have, or why was that missed in the initial search?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. That's one that everybody's going to have, right? Is how did we not find it when we were searching? The lake was extensively searched with side sonar, with an ROV. We had divers, we had swimmers. I think that's part of what we're going to have to go back to do and debrief. You know, when peace officers are out in the field and volunteers and searchers, it doesn't mean that they're experts in the field, right? These are sometimes ancillary duties, and we're calling from other agencies to try to jump in. And tracking underwater is an extremely difficult thing to do. So I think part of our debrief on any of these situations is how do we figure out to improve our services, work on our resources and the way that we use them. A lot of this equipment is high end, very expensive, and you really need to have a lot of practice and expertise. And I think that's where a group like Adventures with Purpose is able to focus and practice those skills and really hone them. And so we're appreciative that they were able to come out and locate it. I also don't want to take away, though, from anything from our volunteers as well as law enforcement that have been out there. I mean, we literally had people swimming in the water looking down so that we didn't disturb the ground initially. You know, my understanding is the vehicle was upside down. That also makes it more difficult. And if silt and things come up above, that can also make things difficult. So before I really can say, hey, why we weren't able to do it, I also could say that we eliminated a lot of areas that we would still be searching if we didn't have all the great people out there. And that helped give them some guidance as well, I think. But clearly their expertise in diving and their equipment that they brought to the table assisted us, and we appreciate that.
Did they specifically have any specific technology that all of these 16 law enforcement agencies didn't have?
I'll have to debrief with them before I'd have the answer to that question. I believe we're going to try to do that today.
Adventures with a Purpose has referenced red tape a couple times, saying they don't have the red tape that maybe your assisting agencies have. What is that red tape, and why might it be easier for a private organization to do this?
I don't know exactly what we're talking about in regards to red tape. I think that from the very beginning, we never deterred anybody other than certain scenes that we closed off at times that became areas of interest and we wanted to protect for evidence. So I don't know that there was any red tape ever put on this. I mean, if you look at the amount of man hours that went into it, it was like over 15,000. And I know it's even higher than that now. I don't think there was ever red tape. There were maps created for civilians to be out. The boat ramp in the lake were never actually shut down because the way we were looking at it is more eyes out there, the better off we're going to be for finding Kiely. And that was continually the goal. So I'm not sure that there was ever red tape. I think it comes down to lots of factors. And like I said, we're going to debrief and try to figure out how do we become better and do a better job at these types of operations.
Sounds like to me this was an investigation that they actually wanted to find the person that was missing. And it's not just this is a pollution hazard to a body of water. They wanted to find her.
I believe that. And they can only utilize the equipment and resources that they have at their disposal according to their budget.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and so if they search that area that AWP searched and found the vehicle, it's to me, from what I looked at, it's a matter of, them being equipped or having the right equipment to do what AWP did where AWP found them in, damn, what, a 35 minutes
Yeah.
after their 2-week search.
And that's exactly why I played the video, the footage that I played from AWP at the beginning, was so everybody can get a good look at what AWP was seeing with their equipment. And they determined that it was a vehicle they needed to dive on.
Right.
They drop a magnet down so they have a guideline to where it is, and they dove on it.
I think this police department here, you know, they have certain equipment, boats. They've got divers, but they can only do what would be to me from, what I gathered from, their investigation was surface searching, ground surface searching, water surface searching. Now, when it came down to finding Kiely's car, now this is a car that's 14 feet deep in water, 55 feet from a shoreline.
Well,
And
they're going to address that. They're going to address that in a few moments. But that when AWP dove on it and was searching that area, it was only about 14 feet, 15 feet deep, whatever the exact measurement is. But there was a point, and I made at the beginning, and and in this press conference, it's one of those things that stand out to me, that it's totally possible that the police in this are being honest. They know that waterway better than AWP does. They know their local area better than AWP does. And I'm not faulting AWP. They're reporting what they find right now.
Right.
The police are going to address, and I don't know if it's in just a few seconds or a couple minutes. I don't remember. But the police are going to address the conditions of the water when they were searching that area back right after she had disappeared.
Why did agencies believe it was an abduction at first?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of miscommunication. I don't know that it was ever labeled as an abduction. I think that you can never take that off the table. And so as we talked as a command group and unified command with all my partners that you see behind us, you couldn't remove that off the table because we hadn't found her. And so, that was some of the struggles with some of the services that we wanted to obtain and things we wanted to do, but we couldn't say it wasn't an abduction, but we also never said that it was an abduction. I think that was clarified fairly early on, but we also probably wouldn't have received all the services and all the people if that wasn't an option. If this was truly a search and rescue mission, we may not have had all the resources to conduct interviews. I think they identified over 400 juveniles, and to be able to interview all those folks and provide feedback off of all that, it takes an army of people. And I think we were lucky to be able to put that together between my partners and agencies that are right behind me.
Did any of the juveniles, anybody mention a car going over the side, a car in the water, of all those?
I don't believe that statement was made, not to my knowledge.
Was there any indication that this was an accident or foul play?
That's still being investigated. If we'd like, we could turn it over for CHP can give some information. They are conducting the accident investigation utilizing their MATE team.
Good morning, Josh Ellers, Assistant Chief with CHP Valley Division based in Sacramento, which Truckie's a part of. I can confirm that our department is conducting a fatality traffic collision investigation. We're harnessing all of our resources, working with all of our partners here. As you see, we're utilizing our MATE team, our multidisciplinary accident investigation team, to harness more data from the vehicle that was recovered. Also, we've utilized all of our air resources to map and video and take photographs of the area in question. And that's currently ongoing, so I can't comment on the nature and details of that investigation, but I certainly appreciate all the partnership that we have here with our local county and state partners. We'll continue to assist in any overarching way that we can as an agency.
Do we know how close the vehicle was to the actual party site?
I don't have the exact location in terms of distance, but it was relatively close to the area in question.
Like a few hundred yards or a half a mile?
I couldn't say. I haven't seen the exact data and the mapping. That's still ongoing.
Did many party goers leave by the same route?
Now, this
along
is,
the way?
I can't comment on all that, but what I can tell you is, and I think it's been discussed, is this is a very popular area. There's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of vehicular traffic on and off road. So certainly crisscrossed and a lot of extensive movement in that area continually throughout this time of year.
Is there any suspicion that it could have been another car who maybe hit this car, or was it a one-person car situation?
I don't have that information that I could comment on at this time. What I can tell you is we'll do a thorough investigation. We'll take every bit and piece of information that we have, including what's already been provided to us, and we'll reach some conclusions that will be provided to the parties of interest at that time.
Before Adventures with Purpose went out there this weekend, when was the last time that we had swimmers or divers from any of these 16 agencies out there searching that area?
I'd defer back to the Nevada County Sheriff for that question. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that we actually had divers, not necessarily in Prosser, but in lots of bodies of water up until even the days that they were there. There were many ponds that we were following up on Coldstream, as well as other bodies of water. So I don't know that dive teams ever discontinued. It was more of trying to still follow up on all of those things. And I believe Adventures with Purpose also had been diving at other lakes as well within the area.
Is there any time from the time that Adventures with Purpose started, how long it took them to find it?
You're talking on Prosser Lake specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was relatively quickly, but I don't have an exact time. Like, again, we're gonna have to debrief with them, figure out, between putting equipment down, getting in the water, and identifying where the car was at.
Can you talk about what happened last night in terms of taking the car out? What kind of law enforcement was there and what happened last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the law enforcement partners you see behind me were present during that time, trying to do the best they could for ensuring that everything was done correctly, and also trying to add some levels of privacy to the best of the ability in worrying about the family and ensuring that they were covered as well. But I mean, beyond that, I don't know what your specific question is asking.
Logistically, how do you get a car out that's offshore? How does that happen? And then where does the car go? What happens? What happens from last night to when you arrived to today?
Yeah, so once the car was located, dive teams were assembled. I believe Placer County was probably still the primary dive team. They have to use lots of devices to lift the car, turn it over, and then the use of tow trucks was what made it possible for pulling the vehicle out of the water. And the vehicle is taken down. The FBI has offered up assistance and are going to be helping to conduct investigation regarding the vehicle itself, and making sure that we don't miss something that may be in there that we're not aware of.
Are you guys confident the car was in the water since the night of the party?
I have no reason to believe that it wasn't, but until we have those answers, I wouldn't know the answer to it.
Can you just clarify as far as what teams had been in that area before Adventures with Purpose, if any, on that specific, on Prosser?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost so many that it would be hard to link out between the different teams. There were numerous boats: Yuba County, Alameda, Nevada County, Placer County. Swimmers came from Washoe County. We had divers from every single one of those agencies and then some. I mean, it was a vast amount of people. And I would just say, unless you've conducted these types of searches and tried to do it, it does take a level of expertise, and nothing's perfect. When you fly a helicopter over the air trying to identify if something is there, most places give that less than a 5% probability of detection, meaning if you flew over, you only have a 5% chance of seeing something. You had trees and brush and bushes and dirt and all these other things, and it becomes a pretty difficult task. Even though once you find the answer, on hindsight, everything looks 20/20. The reality is it's not that simple. It is pretty complex and it's tough. So again, we're just appreciative that the resources came out and were able to help us in locating.
Were there signs that the person in the car tried to escape?
I think that's too preliminary for us to be able to determine that at this time.
Was there more than one body in the vehicle?
No, there was not more than one body in the vehicle.
Describe the difficulty of what water does over 2 weeks to evidence.
It depends. That's a complicated question. I'm not an expert in water. However, temperature of the water and things like that come into play. But it can add difficulty based on many factors that can cause damage to, obviously, things that we want to look at to investigate, but also to bodies that may have been submerged for a period of time.
There likely could have been tire tracks or some type of signal that a car did go into the water there. Did rain impact that? Did this heavy activity in the area impede seeing those signs?
I think everything's a factor, but again, that's where we rely on the MATE team from CHP to come in with their expertise and be able to provide some of those answers.
And it seems that Adventures with Purpose have pretty sophisticated equipment. Is this something that the agencies here have, or you all still need?
Yeah, I'll have to debrief with them to figure out what equipment exactly they use to see if it's items that we have or if it's a matter of training with the items that we have. So until we talk to them and know exactly what they used and how they went about it, I wouldn't be able to answer that correctly.
They also said the car was 14 feet deep. Did y'all go that far to look for the car?
Yeah, some of that information is sometimes deceiving. So yeah, the car was reported at 14 or 15 feet. However, the water level since the 6th has also dropped a vertical 3.5 to 4 feet, which could be 20 to 25 feet off of shore. So a lot of things have changed in those aspects. Until we really can look into all that information and sort through it, it's difficult to say whether those factors had a play in it or not. I think it's still more important for us to debrief, look at training, look at equipment, look at tools, and look at outside entities that are experts where this is maybe their full-time gig that they do, and try to see how we have that involvement from the community to come out and help support.
At this time, can you tell if there are any signs of foul play?
At this time, we're not gonna be able to say anything like that.
It's been said that people were drinking at the party that night. Was anything found in the car that could lead you to believe that she was drinking that the person found was?
Yeah, the investigation's ongoing, so we're not gonna be able to comment on that.
Seemed like where they found the car, it might have been pretty far from the road. You have suspicions that maybe the people were parking on that little island?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that either unless somebody gave some statements to that. I hadn't heard any information like that though.
Do you have any theories as to how the car got in the water, and also what gear was the car found in?
I think if I make up theories, then I'm just guessing, and I'm going to lead us back into a trail that's not certain. So we'll wait until we have those facts and details. And as far as the car, we're not going to release any information until we've done a solid investigation on it.
Who received the first call from Adventures with Purpose, and what was that call like?
I don't know that we received a first call. I think we reached out to them after we read it online. And so I'm not sure, I mean, again, with 150 law enforcement officials, it's possible that a call came in and something happened. But from the Unified Command and talking with my partners, none of us were aware of an initial. So we tasked the investigative sergeant with contacting them and reaching out. So I believe, best I know, we did that proactively on our end.
And they contacted the family?
I think there's still some sketchy details on exactly how that contact went out. So I don't want to speak on behalf of the family.
What was it when you heard that they might have found the car? What went through your head?
Well, I think what we all are thinking, which is hopefully this is true, and we got a lot of work ahead of us to make sure that we still do right by the family. Our biggest concern is making sure that the family has been aware of everything from day one, and that we're not shielding them, but we're also not bombarding them with things. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout this investigation, a lot of emotional turns throughout the whole thing, and our goal is to make sure we're supportive of the family throughout this whole task and doing our best in that.
How long will an investigation into the car, maybe that's for Highway Patrol or FBI, how long does an investigation to look at a car take to figure out what may have happened?
I mean, I think there's a lot of factors in that. I don't mind turning it over to CHP and let them.
Because obviously we have a multifaceted investigation with multiple agencies, it can take time. The FBI is working, evaluating the vehicle. We have to come in and do that. We want to allow them to work. We'll come in and examine data, examine the vehicle, have all of our investigators look at that car. So depending on circumstances, it can be several days, it could be several weeks. We also want to wait on other information related from the coroner's office and other things that all get compiled into a comprehensive investigation. So the easy answer is it could take a while.
All right, we've had an opportunity to hear from most reporters. Most have asked 2 questions. Is there anybody that had a follow-up question that they have not been able to ask yet?
No follow-up.
Go ahead, sir.
There was a report that Adventures with Purpose was told by police that they did not need to search Foster, or at least in the specific area where the car was found, because that had been extensively searched already. Is that true?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably not accurate. And we shared maps, ping information, and locations. And so we probably shared that was extensively searched. And sonar was used, and that may add to the level of where they chose to go to first or last. However, nothing was prevented or shared, and I don't believe that we gave any indication that we thought we knew where she was at, because clearly from all of our daily press releases, we reported over and over again that we didn't know where she was at, and we needed anybody's help and assistance in finding that location.
But you were working in partnership with Adventure with Purpose.
Yeah, I believe that what ultimately occurred was that our sergeant was able to make contact with them, Sergeant Powers with the Placer County Sheriff's Office, come up with a plan and share information on where things were at. So we're still appreciative, like I said, of them being able to locate the vehicle.
Will they get the cash reward for helping find the vehicle and the body?
It's not a question I'll be able to answer.
May I ask?
Okay, we're starting to get into the what I call the dope questions that really just don't matter to Kiely missing. They're just starting getting into schematics questions, and that just aren't really relevant or I care about. The important thing is, and this the guy that was speaking, you know, he was candid.
Very.
He was honest as far as he could possibly go, in my impression, without hurting or giving away information that he does not have an answer to, and would be speculating on. I think Carrie has it right. I believe they handled this press conference very well.
Yeah, they could only tell what they knew, or what they know to a degree of their investigation. Their new finding changes everything. So it's like they find the vehicle and now they hold a presser. It's like they really can't tell too much because they just found the vehicle, you know. And as the assistant chief mentioned, you've got the FBI involved in handling certain things concerning the vehicle. You know, they're going over data, information pertaining to the vehicle. That's one aspect of it. You've got the other aspect of it of the other members of the search party that was involved. You've got another aspect of it as to, you know, what new evidence is on the table. As well as waiting for a medical examination to take place and be completed, toxicology, all these other components. Yeah, and I agree with the assistant. It will take a little time, you know, for them to pull all that together, coordinate it, and then they can decide which way the direction the investigation will go at that particular time when they have everything together. And as I mentioned before, toxicology will take or does take at least 4 to 6 weeks to be completed. So yeah, and I would agree. You know, they're not going to rush this, and all this newfound information, you know, takes their investigation to an entirely different level. You know, in a death investigation now.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You know, we got to remember is this is now a death investigation. We're and this is why I was saying earlier, we have got to remain patient. We have this is not like the Summer Wells where you were being given every single day new information, different information, and whoever you trusted as this information was coming out, you needed a way to process it. You needed a source to talk out with other people. This isn't that situation. This isn't that situation.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 months with the Summer Wells case, and here we are, you know, 2 weeks, you know, regarding Kiely's case. You know, that's great that we've got to this point. You know, now, you know, they can determine a whole lot more now since finding the vehicle and, you know, who's in that vehicle, which would be most likely Kiely, to really speed things up compared to the Summer Wells case where she's still missing. No one's not talking. No one knows anything. No one's gone to jail. Everybody's still on, on the table, so to speak, whether they be suspects or persons of interest. Once again, different state, different place, different department, different resources, different personnel. It's an entirely different animal compared to this
Right.
case where, they asked a outside third party for assistance, and they came in 35 minutes later after hitting Prosser Lake and located a car. It's like, whoa. And they got the right people to do the right job because they had the right equipment. Only saying that they didn't have the kind of equipment that AWP has, which is a sonar stuff, sonar radar stuff, and all this higher technology than they would have, compared to the boats, the divers, the helicopters, drones, search dogs, things of that nature. They utilize those resources, but those resources could cover the limited amount that they could, and hence, to ask for outside help was a good thing for
Right.
that department. And not why wait a month or 2 months and then determine, well, we really need to go back and search the lakes again. And it's already 2-3 months, 4 or 5 months down the road. And it's like, okay, how deteriorated would the evidence be at that time versus now? So.
Exactly. And I did warn everybody at the beginning of this that I'm going to show an image of the vehicle. I said that was the only image I was going to show was of it being tarped, or as it had a tarp on it.
Yes.
And that's out of respect to everybody, her family, to Kiely herself. There is a image that I'm going to show everybody in just a moment here. The vehicle is partially tarped. It's partially on land. I'm just giving everybody the heads up right now that this is the vehicle as it was in the process of being pulled out of the water. There is nothing you can see as far as Kiely in the vehicle. Okay, it's at a far enough distance where you do not see anything. The one thing I'm going to point out to you in this video, in this photo, and we're going to be ending soon, folks. Just to give you a heads up. Just want to give everybody a heads up on that as well. I think this is a very telling photo. I've watched enough videos with Adventures with Purpose. I was making this point on my Discord earlier, or chatting with people earlier today. That I can honestly say the first area they're going to tarp to make sure nobody takes a photo of it is where the person is in the vehicle when they pull it out of the water. And it's just going to kind of be telling on what I actually think without saying what I think moment of where this investigation is going to go. This is the vehicle.
Can you blow it up a little bit more?
Sure can.
Mm-hmm.
This is a diver. You can see his tank of water, or air, rather. I'm sorry. Man, I'm off today.
No, you're excited that you're able to present this information. I know that.
Look at where they're tarping on this vehicle.
Yeah. Yep.
Something is not consistent with an accident. person does it, if they are in a seat, in the driver's seat with a seatbelt on. This is one of those things I say, slow down. We got to find out, is she of a normal habit that she wears her seatbelt? Because I don't think California law, some states law, you still don't have the law that a person in the front seat has to wear a seatbelt. You can go to New Hampshire.
Yep.
You can go to New Hampshire and be driving a motorcycle and don't have to wear a helmet. Okay? Not every single state requires what your state may require. If it is true that she landed up in the hatch area of her vehicle, this is not proving an accident in my mind.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
But just as much,
if she was driving that car, she would have had a seatbelt on. She would be in the front of that car. That tarp would have been all over that car upon them taking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I could see from that photo, it is somewhat telling that for them to cover the back of the vehicle tells us that's where Kiely is.
And Carrie, I want to thank you very much for throwing the general warning out there in my chat.
Yes.
I forgot to do that. Carrie's always on it.
Yeah,
she knows. She knows.
Yeah, so that is a very telling aspect of it, as far as that photo is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
For them to have covered the back of the car in that way.
They covered it first, so nobody can get a photo of it.
Right.
I've seen other investigations happen where AWP was not even, they were looking to clear cars, just purely cars out of a body of water. And they were not looking for a person. And this is actually how they started, with looking for people in cars, in water.
And we also,
they were just,
we also too, not to cut you off, but we also too have to consider that the car was upside down. If they had to roll it over, she was out of her seatbelt, or else she would have been in the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's telling there. That would be telling right there.
Right. And that's the thing, is what manner did they do to flip the vehicle over? Did they just barrel roll it? Or did they front somersault it? Or, however you want to think about it. Most likely, in my opinion, going from what other AWP videos I've seen it, they'll use airbags and they'll barrel roll it if it's flipped.
Mm-hmm. Now we also have to take into consideration too, which I didn't see in that photo, any airbag deployment. Just from that view of the photo, I didn't see on the driver's side, on the passenger side, any type of airbag deployment, because they will usually be present at the steering wheel. If she hit that water hard, boom, you're going to get some kind of emergency airbag deployment. Because her car is going to have a sensor that's going to go off, especially if it's a front type impact.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hitting water, obviously, so that would be considered an impact, depending on how fast the car was in motion. That's going to come out too. If there was no airbag deployment, then that's going to determine how fast the car was moving. And we talked about idle motion as well.
Yeah.
you see, and that's going to be part of the information that they'll be able to determine whether she was driving this car or not. You know, the body could have moved if it wasn't latched down in a seatbelt. The body could have moved based upon the repositioning of that car underwater. No doubt, this car may have been in the water for 2 weeks. We have to, keep that in mind. And by rolling a car over and her not being buckled in any way, shape, or form, her body is also going to move depending on the position of the roll. And her body could have end up floating on the roll anywhere in that car that may have put her in the back. Well, once again, that's sort of like speculating to say, well, it's too much. We'll wait for them to say how they found her, because once they did find that car upside down, I'm sure that wherever she was in the car, that had to be recorded by pictures capturing everything the way it was underwater, just the way it was before they decided to move that car. They did the right job. That's what I would have done. Don't move the car yet. Let's get some divers in there taking pictures of exactly the position of where she is, the things in the car. Okay. Do the best job, chassis, side door, fronts, everything that you can get, depending on visibility of the water as well. And then now we'll decide to go ahead and put her on fours so we can now take her out. And wherever she is in the car, she's going to be in the car. Well, one thing they did mention was the fact that it didn't appear that there was any kind of struggle in that car to get out.
Right.
And that's telling to me as well.
Right, exactly. Now, Cherokee Girl, once again, she's making a great point. She's been involved in recovery and where they found the person in the back of the vehicle because they are trying to escape. Panic ensues, and you're in complete darkness. You don't know which way is up and which way is down. That is very true.
Yes. There's no illumination in that water or anywhere in that park near the water, as we talked about earlier. So yeah, that would be pitch black. You don't know where you are, upside down. You're in a state of panic. You're trying to breathe for air, and you can't get out. So you are in a very bad place, a very bad state of panic. And the only thing that you can do is, and you're going to aspirate, that's for sure.
Kelly M, I'm just addressing a few points in the chat here, because we've been keeping up pretty well with the chat as we go through things tonight. Kelly M, the kind of airbags I'm referring to are not impact airbags. We did talk about them as if they were the airbags from the steering wheel or the passenger side. What I'm referring to when I say they flipped the vehicle is I believe they actually call them lift bags. Cherokee, can you give a little bit of insight on what a lift bag is? I'm sure you can explain it a lot better than I can.
And I was only talking about the airbag deployment, but just based on the photo, just that one photo. Now, another photo of that car close up, that could be a different story.
Yeah, and that's an angle that the investigator is going to have, not that we're going to have.
Right. When you have a one-sided or a portion of a 360-degree a visual, and you only have a very small portion or a one-sided portion of that, 35%, give or take, it's not telling you the whole story. So by us not being able to see whether there was airbag deployment or not, it's just only based on that one picture.
Cherokee might be typing, I'm not sure, but
yeah, she's working.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she's going to have if she can explain that load of lift bag is. And Kelly, I'm not saying it was you. I want to make sure everybody understands what if this gets brought up again, or we need to bring this up again. Different things of how they would have done this. How would they have flipped the vehicle upright underwater? Because surely they're not just going to manpower it, because
Yeah.
they're at a disadvantage.
Well, you have that AWP team that has done this on many, many occasions, finding
Oh, yeah.
cars, in lakes and rivers and in water, and with their expertise to try to keep obviously evidence intact as best as possible. I'm sure that they took the extra care, as we saw in portions of the video that we were shown of them removing the car from the lake, to really secure as much as possible. It's not ever going to be 100% when you're dealing with the elements.
Mhm.
You can only do the very best that you can to really secure evidence that can move. And in this case, water was moving, the cars being turned over, now the cars being moved out of position up to the land. So yeah, you're going to have a portion of change there, but you want to make it the smallest percentage as possible while keeping everything else intact.
Absolutely.
I would
So-
say, and I'm only looking at it as from a scientific point of view. The things I
Sure.
would do if I was in their position, whether it be law enforcement or AWP, here's how we handle it, and this got to be handled gently because we're dealing with, physical evidence now of a missing person. Now we have a death investigation here.
I was born a Yankee, John. No offense, I'm not trying to put what state you're from out there. You're a Yankee. One of the things you get taught if you take defensive driving classes, which most very urban areas you're required to do so. One of the things they teach you is to have a hazard bag. It's those little triangles just in case you get a flat tire that you put behind your vehicle to say, mark where you are, things like that.
Right.
And I normally don't tell people to go do something or, go. Occasionally I'll recommend for something for them to do so, for people to do so. And I think this is a great moment. I don't drive, so you can take it with a grain of salt if you want. There is a tool that's called a window punch and seatbelt cutter. It's anywhere between $5 and $20, depending on where you go to find one, where you go to get one. If you can't get yourself a full-blown tool, a hazard bag, roadside bag, whatever you want to call it. If you live near roads that are by water, which almost nobody does unless you're living in the middle of Arizona where there's nothing but sand around you, this might be something you want to have in your glove box, folks. You never, ever know. And it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better be prepared than be sorry. Because with just a little bit of force in the right area, and there's plenty of YouTube videos out there to show you how to properly use this tool. That no matter which side of this comes out, if it was accidental or it was homicide. Your vehicle being in water and you being trapped in it is preventable. You might want to have one in your glove box.
Very good point.
And that, thank you. Yep, there you go. Cherokee, you did explain what an inflate bag is or a lift bag is if nobody's aware of it. She did an excellent point of doing so. Florida, defensive driving is required. Yep, nosy bug. There you go. It was $5. He got himself, or she got herself one. In New York, by driving school. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. New York, it actually lowers your insurance rate.
Oh, yes.
Inexpensive tool that could save lives if you know how to use it right. The reason I'm saying this is I never want to have to do a story on any one of you guys being in water in a vehicle, and that be the method of your demise.
Yeah, because all of this could have been prevented. And let me throw this out there while we're on the subject. With everyone still here in the chat and covering 3 hours and 22 minutes in, what one thing comes to your mind that could have prevented all of this from happening to Kiely? What just jumps out? What's the first thing that jumps out?
We talked about it last night. The buddy system.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into a situation or you're not familiar with it and you go with a buddy, don't leave your buddy. Don't care if you get in an argument. Don't care if you're drinking. Sleep it off in your vehicle. But don't leave your buddy.
Something that you would give advice to your 16-year-old, knowing that she was going out to a party with her friends, or whether that story got changed somehow to say she was going to the car show, but then again, there was a behind the back move later on. Well, we don't know that, but what would be one piece of good advice you would give your 16-year-old if they were your daughter, particularly in this particular situation, a party situation? This is late at night. This is not in the afternoon. This is not in the early evening either.
Here's the thing that comes to my mind when you say it that way. Years ago, I had to have a very frank conversation with my own father, who was not part of my life going through my teen years. By a week later and 3 different persons being telling me the story of what happened, I found out that one of my grandparents was rushed to the emergency room, and she was my last grandparent that I had living. So I would say it's the same thing I told my father years ago when I had contact with him, as limited contact as I could stomach. I don't care what time of night it is. You have a cell phone. You have my number. Call me. Of course, there might be a little bit of little fun in the morning of making fried eggs, bacon, turkey bacon in my case, turkey sausage, some greasy food that's not going to sit well with you because you've been drinking or do something that, just to tease you a little bit. But you're still going to end up coming home safe.
Mm-hmm. And you guys gave some great answers, because that would be the number one thing you could think about. Say, look, you're out. I don't care what time it is. Well, for a 16-year-old, obviously she had a curfew time that's involved in this case, and she had to request for extra time. As far as we know, we don't know if she produced that text message to get in contact with her mother at this particular time yet, to be confirmed by law enforcement at the 11:30 hour to request for more time. That's still a very fuzzy element in this case, to me, and then I'm just speaking from my point of view. But the answers are very, very clear. You get yourself into a position where you're having a difficult time getting home because of a party, and you're in bad shape, and you're out with a vehicle. No matter what, you do not drive the vehicle. You do not move. You call if you have your phone, or try to find a phone to call and let us come get you. Or be smart enough to get an Uber, a cab, to secure your safety first. Because if you're that vulnerable when it comes to being inebriated, having too much to drink, that would be the first emergency rule that a 16-year-old should get. Because they're at that age, they want to go out to parties. They want to be with their friends. They want to be sociable. They want to be accepted. Once again, peer pressure plays an important part in this case as well. Kiely wasn't alone by herself all the time. It was only up until the time she was left alone, which is a concerning factor here. And by whom she was left alone. And in this case, people left. And according to what Sammy said, she was the last person to have made contact with Kiely before she left. And how she left her was the wrong thing to do. Whether she was forced in some way, shape, or form, she should come clean. I was told to leave because she was tied up with someone else, if that was the case. But she didn't say that. She assumed that she was going to sleep in the park, or find her own ride home, or find her own way, is what she mentions. She's already made the statement, and to walk it back is going to be the hardest thing for her to do right now. So yes, she's shocked. Yes, she's surprised and very pissed. You can imagine what emotions are running through her system now, knowing that Kiely's car was found, and most likely she was the one in the vehicle.
There's a legitimate thing called survivor's guilt. If this was purely an accident, I hope that no matter who the parent is, it doesn't seem like these are parents that are hurting. I'll put it that way, for hurting money-wise. That her closest friends land up getting help, whether it be through their church, psychiatry, whatever the case may be. This tragedy, if it is an accident, needs to end at one, not one and because of survivor's guilt.
Right.
And this is why I hesitate to say that it's one person's fault or another person's fault. These are teenagers, young adults, late teens, 16 to 18-year-old age. If it truly was an accident, they need to be able to enjoy their life. However, at the same time, I'm going to say if they are involved and made adult decisions that they should not have been making at their age, they deserve to receive adult punishments.
Indeed. As someone regarding this situation and in this case lost their life.
Absolutely.
And for no one to have taken some kind of responsibility, that rings a big loud bell. Who could have been the one to take that responsibility to make sure everybody who went out and met made sure everybody left and went home? You see, so you can, like I said, you can just imagine what Sammy's feeling right now. If it was an accident or something else, nonetheless, you can imagine what she's feeling since she was the last friend, quote unquote, contact made with Kiely.
And that's why I'm leaving it as being right now. We're going to sit here and say they're experiencing survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going to hope that it's an accident. There's information that's available online that makes it look like this may not be. And this is speculation, folks. I'm just being honest with you. Speculation. But this is why I'm saying as well, I'm using myself an example. It looks like it could be this, but I'm going to sit here and wait for more information.
Yes, there you go. Bingo. So am I. It's not enough right now to determine anything up until some key things fall into place. You know, the autopsy, toxicology, the forensics from the car, her cell phone, all the things that created the case has got to be cleared. And only up until that time can, when they make a decision, and if that decision, if when that time comes, is shared with us, we will then know more about the direction of our thoughts on this case as compared to now. So yes, I would wait. I'm going to wait. Let's see what comes out of it. Now that she's been found, likely, more or less, car's been found. There's no more issue about where she is now, and there's no more issue about the car being missing now. It's a matter of having that information, that evidence now processed in the way that it should be processed to determine what information comes from it.
Absolutely.
What it will tell us eventually. And then we'll know. We'll know.
Absolutely. And I'm highlighting different clips and I'm not really responding to them. I'm just making sure everybody, you know, what they're telling, it's not confession time or anything like that. It's not tell on myself type of stories because goodness knows I was a teenager and I was not the innocent teenager either. I was the teenager that most people, if I told you stories of what I did or when I did things, you'd be shocked with knowing me in real life. Okay, I was not the innocent teenager.
None of us were. Come on now. We were teenagers, and we understand. We understood then how we felt about ourselves and the world as it was then when we were 16 and 15 and all the young teenagers years that we all grew up through,
Well, let's just put it
So,
this way.
yeah.
Let's just put it this way. I almost got pulled over one night going through town by a cop that my grandmother babysat for when he was a young kid, who decided that it was worse for him to call, it was more of a punishment for him to call my grandmother and tell him what he caught me doing than it was for him to pull me over. My grandmother was.
I'm not laughing at you, RJ. D Love has just been on me tonight.
You're good. You're good. You're good. My grandmother was waiting for me on the porch with a switch.
Ooh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The cop was right. The punishment I went through was worse than him giving me a ticket.
Get a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh, it was
Met
me on the porch.
Chills up and down my spine.
Met me on the front porch with the switch.
Not a belt, a switch. Ooh, the burning sensation just saying the word switch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can still feel it this day.
That's old school right there. You know it. You get that switch, take the leaves. Oh, nice and fresh. You got that whipping sound cutting through the air. And boy, when you got hit, it was a burn. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Facts.
Yep. John, I want to thank you for joining me. I know we kind of hinted at last night and really didn't do a lot of prep time, but it was just a continuation of last night with new information. So I didn't think you would mind jumping up and joining me.
Oh no, I've enjoyed tonight's live. I think tonight's follow-up to last night's table talk was great. We're able to process more information, especially after the finding of the car and the new presser that came out. So we're on time. We're on target. And we'll continue to follow this story and any new developments. I know you will on your channel. I know I will on mine. I'm still looking at different videos of the car being removed. Now that we have a different location that we've covered here tonight, and the presser that they had and what they were able to release, what they were able not to release, though that's key information that we're still all waiting for. And once it's released, we'll be able to give an update on the case on my channel. But it was a pleasure being a co-host with you. And
absolutely, I
you have
appreciate
a marvelous chat. I love all my people in here. I send you much love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Staying with us this long and really digging into the case and making sure that we hone down all the facts to date and continue to as time progresses. But I'm gonna jump down off your panel so you can close up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. RJ, and we'll be in contact. We'll definitely be in contact.
Oh, definitely. You know it.
All right, brother. You take care.
Absolutely.
Y'all take care in the chat room. Much love. Be well and stay blessed with Godspeed always.
And I'm a Leo as well. So, yeah. Nosy Bug, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. I'm going to leave you with a final comment up on the screen tonight, and Cherokee Girl, I am not picking on you in any sort of way, but she's been on it with a great amount of information, and what she said is extremely important. And I want to leave everybody with this. If you do have such a tool that I was referring to earlier about the window breaker and seatbelt cutter, make sure you know how to use it. Cherokee Girl actually makes it a very excellent point. If you have to use it, you find yourself in you use it a situation where you have to use this tool, know how to use it correctly. Like I said, there's plenty of videos online on YouTube that will show you how to use it. So you don't have to find a sheet of plate glass or anything like that and practice it. Okay. In fact, I think Adventures with Purpose, since we've been talking about them off and on through the night, give them another plug. They have a video on how to use it properly, I believe. So I'm going to leave this information up here on the screen as we close out tonight. If you ever in a situation that you need to break a window, or do not go at the center of it, go to the edge. Go to the edge. From what I've always been told or heard, go to the corner closest to the mirror of a window. It's a weak point. Designed weak point for that tool. On top of that, I'm going to, especially on a night like tonight, where we've spent quite a bit of time talking about a very tragic ending, that now we just have to wait for results of examinations and blood work and things like that to find out the final puzzle pieces and how they all fit together. If you know, my question as always is, it's 12:15 my time. It's now the Tuesday my time. If you know where your kids are, no matter how old, no matter how young, make sure they know that you love them. Make sure to give them an extra hug if they're at the age where you can hug them. This has been the Conversations Living Room with RJ. And of course, we had John Q with us. And I want to thank you. My name is RJ, and I'm out. Have a good night, all.